100%. Every member of our big Nissan team is ready to get you into the end zone and make you a winner. And you don't have to go long. We're just a short drive from anywhere. Get off the sidelines. Get in the game. Only at Nissan in North Homestead, on the North Homestead Auto Mile, and I-9 in Nissan in Sheffield Village. Because the deals are so good. It's the 2-minute warning, and the clock is running out. So hurry in. Start drawing up your next perfect play online at bignissan.com.
From the 1-800-HURT-NOW Traffic Center. Hurt in a car? Call KNR.
This report is brought to you by the Blossom Music Festival with the Cleveland Orchestra.
In olden days.
Tony Dessert joins the Cleveland Orchestra for a sparkling tribute to the timeless music of Cole Porter. August 23rd at Blossom. Tickets at clevelandorchestra.com.
77 north along Route 30 is down to one lane, and the ramp from 77 north to 30 east is closed due to overnight road work. Meredith Kane with your Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
Broadcasting from the 92.3 The Fan Studios, fueled by True North Convenience Stores. Bills, Browns.
Allen back to throw. Allen running away and sacked by Carson Swessinger. 4th down.
Kickoff Saturday at 1. We're your home for complete Browns coverage all year long. WKRK-FM and HD1 Cleveland Heights.
1, 2, 3.
We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
This 2020 is brought to you by Bookman & Son Fine Jewelers. No pressure when it's time to shop for an engagement ring at Bookman & Son, where jewelry shopping is made easy and comfortable. BookmanandSon.com. After failing to land LeBron James this offseason, the Cavaliers are on the moves. Late last night, they were involved in a multi-team trade that sent Max Strus to the Clippers and an unprotected 2031 first-round pick and 2032 Kings second-round pick to the Nuggets in order to acquire Peyton Watson. Watson reportedly going to sign a new 4-year deal with the Cavs worth $88 million and including a player option. Parker Messick had an excellent day on the mound for the Guardians last night, striking out a career-high 10 batters, giving up 6 hits and only 1 run and walking no batters. However, that 1 run that he gave up was the only run the Giants needed to get the win, as the Guardians were shut out 1-0 last night at Progressive Field. This is the 3rd time in Messick's last 7 starts that the Guardians have lost in shutout fashion. The losses put the Guardians at 61-66 on the season, tied for 3rd in the division with the Tigers. The Browns are welcoming the Bills to town this afternoon to host a joint practice ahead of their preseason matchup on Saturday. Depending on how the practice goes today, it could be the only time the ones from both teams will face each other. As Todd Monken said earlier this week, if he and Joe Brady are satisfied with how the starters perform against each other in practice today, they may not play much on Saturday. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Now the 2-2. That'll do it. So the Giants win it 1-0 is the final score. Guardians are shut out on 6 hits tonight. And the Giants shut out Cleveland to even this series at a game apiece as the Guardians' offensive woes continue.
Been shut out 12 times. Is there an explanation for it?
It's baseball. I mean, we're working. You know, we've shown at times that we have the ability to be a very good offense, and some nights the pitchers are going to win. And you know, it feels especially frustrating when you lose 1-0 like that. But again, it happens, and we're going to keep working.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of Guardians TV. Steven Stefanski. Is that going to start going around at some point soon?
Then that means 2 Coach of the Years, right?
I mean,
glass half full.
I think it's proven in the city over the last time. We've had 3 Coaches of the Year, and I think that all 3 have started to come under fire here. The latest being Stephen Vogt, yes.
But one of those is basketball.
Yeah.
One of those is football.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, this one
is baseball.
It's baseball. 12 is a bit.
It's baseball.
It's a bit of a lot.
Is that the most in the majors?
Well, Owen, John, away you go.
Yeah, give me and my friend.
I just saw John's head go flying over the one corner there as he's running to the computer to go get it. Okay. So I saw a lot of people last night. You lose 1-0. Parker Messick, again, And it's the story of the Guardian starters' lives right now. Is you go out, you have this great outing, and you can't push a run across. And I understand fans are getting very upset. They haven't been, but they're getting there. Very upset over the same thing being said because the season's slipping away. They're mad, and it's the same. I mean, it is the exact same thing as what has happened with Kevin Stefanski, with the exception of the drama in the locker room and craziness and innuendo and all the other crap that went on. However, it is really the same situation. You're mad because they lose. You hear him in the postgame. He doesn't sound mad, and you get mad at him for not being mad enough. Yes, Owen, you got a number.
I have a number. This is as of August 20th. The Pittsburgh Pirates have been shut out the most, 13 times.
Ooh.
The Guardians and the Reds are tied for 12 shutouts.
So really the whole region doesn't hit well. Not a lot of offense around here. Yeah.
You can be to the ballpark where the teams that have been shut out the most, you can do that the quickest.
Locally sourced runners left in scoring position.
Right.
Yes.
Grass-fed.
Locally, a real farmer's market of runners left on base.
Well, they are now.
That's good. We left 8 on base last night.
Oh, yeah. It was
0 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
2 of those, if you only leave 6, we win.
It's baseball.
That's baseball. And so, I could. Now, you've played it 3 times. Are you getting pissed yourself?
Yeah, I wasn't until Keith texted me.
All right, let's open up that wound. That's 4. Here we go. Let's open it. Maybe we can get to 12 as many times as they've been shut out. I don't know. We only have 16 more minutes to do that.
Well, the eighth inning was critical. I mean, you get on with a leadoff walk. Quan is up there. All they have to do is move him around and strike out.
So this
what do you want from him, Anthony?
It's baseball.
Anything but that. And now, offensively, for the season, they are dead last in slugging. They are dead last out of 30 teams in on-base plus slugging. Second last in runs. The bottom has fallen out.
Why, you're paying closer attention to them now that they're losing than you did when they were winning.
Well, it's just when the
what
numbers.
What is with you?
It's when the numbers are as neat and easy as they are here. You're dead last out of 30 teams. And the funny thing is, people have been more excited about aspects of this team all year offensively than I think they had been last year or the year before. But now you look at it, and compounding the problem, obviously, with the Jose season that he's having, is that even though Quan got his act together, they still are the worst hitting team in baseball.
I mean, let's call it what it is, guys. I think we're ready to. And the only thing and it's the same sentence, it's just a different week. What's stopping me from calling the season? Last year. That's all. I cannot make an argument to say that this season is still alive without mentioning last year. It's an impossible thing to do. And that's not last year's Guardians aren't walking through that door. Literally, they can't right now. You had Joe Adell, who's banged up now, which is a huge blow.
Huge.
He had 6 RBI two nights ago. He has a 455-foot home run. He fouls one off his knee. Now you have an issue there. Chase DeLauder's being held out for a hamstring injury. At this point, Baskin might actually drive to his condo or apartment or wherever he lives and might actually tape it himself and make him go. Like, there is something to be said. There's something to be said for circumstance as well. But this is it. You go back to Chase DeLauder and those comments last week, and he talked about pressing. And so I'm trying to go back because we can only go back to our past to try to explain the now and try to look into the future, okay? I'm not going to go back to last year. I'll go back to this year because Chase DeLauder didn't make his appearance with the Guardians until the postseason last year. So follow me on this. Chase DeLauder, I thought, sounded like a veteran last week, said some, I thought, poignant things about pressing at the plate, young guys pressing at the plate. The only thing you can do is just get more experience and go up there. And so Stephen Vogt goes out there in the post game, and they lose 1-0. They get shut out for the 12th time. Fans are really mad. And when he says this,
it's baseball.
That's 6 times now. People get really mad. We're halfway home, so people get really, really mad at it. And it sounds like Kevin. It does. He sounded like Kevin last week. He's been sounding like Kevin now more and more over the last month. The difference is that I have more excitement for the young players than I did the last were 2 years ago for the young players that the Browns had because they didn't really have many young players. It was the wheels were really shaking and coming off. I got more excitement for the young guys with this team, and I think he knows they're pressing. So when people are going, well, he's got to light a fire under him, let's go. I don't doubt that. I think in the clubhouse, they're probably all freaking out that they can't get runners across. I think they all know that. I'm assuming they all know that. Maybe that's a bad assumption. I'm assuming they all know that. And I just don't think he's going to make it any worse or try to make it any worse talking to the assembled media and giving us something to play into the ground other than it's baseball.
That's fans trying to project their football sensibilities over to a sport where getting in guys' faces about pressing at the plate. Like that, what does that do?
Yeah, but guys, I mean, I don't fully agree with that.
Next time, you got to understand what's on the line, and you got to come through with runners and score. Okay, Skip.
I don't fully agree with that.
I guess I'm going to be more focused this time.
Yeah, but you got guys like, I mean, you have historical hard asses in the past. The late Bobby Cox, Jim Leland, Earl Weaver. I think are they all passed? Jim Leland's still with us, or is he gone? Jim Leland is alive. Oh, yeah, he is. All right.
All them cigarettes, man.
Hey, man. They can't get everybody. Some guys, they just keep going. Perrysburg, Ohio, brother.
When you get the nicotine stain on your mustache, though, that's like...
It's extra.
I'm excited by 81 years here.
It's extra angry. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, like, Jim Leland was a hard ass. Like, there's plenty of managerial hard asses in the past. And you see the highlights of them going after people. You don't know exactly what they would do every single day. So, I'm not completely losing my mind on you and saying you're wrong and it's football stuff. I would if I felt that way. Because would Jim Leland go and start screaming at guys from the Tigers or Pirates or whoever from back in the day because they were pressing at the plate? I don't know if that's going to really help. But Chase DeLauder, I mean, openly admits last week that they're pressing at the plate. Now they don't even have Chase DeLauder right now. So
now they just need to be screamed at more, and then they'll be better at the plate.
There you go.
That's what I mean.
I don't think it's a football sensibility. I think it's a frustration with losing sensibility for a lot of the fans. And so they're upset, and they want somebody to tear into them because they're mad, and then when the manager doesn't tear into them, it sounds a lot like...
Hold on. We don't know that the manager is not tearing into him.
He's not doing it publicly.
It's just when the microphone is in front of him,
That's
he's not
what I'm saying.
It.
That's what I'm pointing out.
And yeah, his press conferences have become a complete waste of time. You're not learning anything about the team. Like, say what you want about Kenny Atkinson. Like, he is always educating you on his team through every press conference, almost to a fault. He is going through the ins and the outs of what happened. Like, Vogt is not doing that. Stefanski certainly did not do that by the end. They were completely fruitless. They were valueless.
Yes. Now, they've played brain-dead baseball before, but they haven't played half-ass brain-dead baseball in a long time. They got rid of the half-ass brain-dead guy in Gabby Arias. And Owen was excited, and so was the rest of Cleveland. And I think they'd get, even though the slash lines might say different, you'd probably be pretty excited as well. So you've gotten rid of the poison, quote-unquote. It's just... I'm not going to sit there and blame it all on injuries. I think that it has something to do with it. I also think the inexperience has something to do with it. And we may find out over time, and this is the bad part about it, is that some of the guys that we're excited about, I hope it isn't this way, you may find out in the next year or two that they might not be that good. Now, that's the worst possible outcome, but it's something that I think that people have to keep in the back of their mind just in case. Because that would be an organizational problem. I'm not ready to point at that yet, but I think that a lot of people are starting to wonder, when is this going to materialize into wins? And I just don't know if it's going to materialize into wins this year. Because the only thing that's stopping me from saying that the season is over is what? Last year. So how can I use last year as a legitimate reason instead of just lying to myself? How can I say that last year is a reason that this year is still alive?
It's baseball.
7.
And the other thing is the wild card race. I mean, you're a game and a half back. So no matter how bad they play, no matter how bad the offense is, no matter if they're in the cellar and all these offensive statistics, when they're a game and a half back, you can always leave the door slightly open that you can make up ground with just a good week of baseball. Like, that's all it takes in the American League.
And you're playing not good teams coming up, so you still have
this is one of them.
That is a good, because at some juncture, I don't need them to win 8-0. I don't need them to win. Can you just give me 4-0? Because the starting pitching's excellent. Can I get 3? Can I win 3-2? As long as I get more than the other team, guys, I don't care. I'm desperate. As long as I have more than the other team at the end of the game, I'm fine with it. I swear to God.
It's baseball.
This is not. Yeah, it's not style points. That's 8. We got 4 to go. We only got a few minutes left.
Baseball.
That doesn't count. Not putting that in there.
Well, if you do like 5 of those, they add up to normal speed.
There's the bunt to break up the no-hitter. Should we ask that about Mary Kay's video, Todd Monken, the other day?
Yeah, it was a little slow motion.
Did you see that video? That was something. It's like back in high school. What'd you say, Dad? Right after you get out of the Mercury Sable that your buddy's driving. You want me to do what? Huh? That's the way that sounded. I don't know, man. I'm looking for a silver lining. And I don't think it's a comfortable feeling when you have a silver lining that has to do with all the other teams that are not very good. And it's like, well, we don't control our own destiny, but we're just going to wait for the other teams to mess it up. Yes?
Well, it's that. You still like when you see Parker Messick pitching the way that he pitched. I think that could give you a silver lining. But, I mean, the reality is, does anybody think they're going to do damage in the playoffs with the worst offense in baseball?
No, but I think that makes it – I think Parker Messick actually makes it more frustrating because you're wasting great outings. You want to have a great pitcher and win games. Like Bob Feller was arguably one of the greatest pitchers – well, he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time, arguably was the greatest pitcher of all time. And you won a World Series with Bob Feller. So you did the winning and you got the greatness. Greatness isn't very much – without winning, actually it becomes dubious or notorious at some level. Like, what do we always say about the 90s Indians? Great team. Why didn't they win? Why didn't they get over? Like, it's the first question you bring up. It's the first question they bring up. So if you have greatness and you're not pushing runs across, it's just adding to more frustration. Like, there's definitely, when you get to the offseason, I think there's definitely some changes that need to be made. If you want to bring up hitting, fine. From when I was a kid, I liked Rugi Odor. I've told that story before. That's a weird situation over there at third. I mean, when the general fan is noticing just about every single night is something silly going on down there, I think your days should be numbered. But these are little changes because you got the big lockout possibly looming, and then you have to figure out what you really want to do with your organization after that. Because, I mean, that's a top-down situation whenever David Blitzer is going to take over here. So that's where you're at. It's not good. It's not good, man. It is not good.
It's baseball.
We're up to 9, 3 to go. There's not much else I can do with it, man. Sometimes you just got to go out there and you throw the first pitch.
It's baseball.
How can you get in where there's 2 more to get in? And we can match the number. He wants to do it. Nah, don't count either. No, a 2 for 1, you know what? That counts. It's 11 now.
Well, the hard thing for them at 2 is, this time of year we start to get a little scatterbrained. You got high school football starting, this week. Is there a game tonight? Thursday night kickoff?
Oh, there's always Thursday night.
At the stadium tonight.
Right.
Ignatius and Avon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so they'll kick off the schedule there. You have a full slate on Friday, and then college football week 0 right around the corner. And it's like, this is the time. This is the time you have left to kind of get people really to focus on you, to be front and center. And that is not going to be the case if this is going to be how they're hitting, regardless of what their schedule is.
You tell me that new coach is starting out with Avon?
Yep.
Couldn't get like a Washington, D.C. school to come in for week 1, or?
It's football.
I think they might rather it be.
It's baseball.
Hey, Avon's no joke, brother. Like, there's dudes on that team.
I was unaware. Tell me.
Baseball.
I mean, I will tell you, I like to chart every game I watch. And it is becoming a bit of a chore. I mean, it hasn't been that way. I can't remember, since I started charting them 3 years ago.
What's on the chart for this one last night?
They lost 1-0, and Parker Messick was great.
Like a bunch of runners out on bases still. There's 8 bases on this diamond.
And I'm going to try to.
Each has a runner on.
I'm going to connect the dots, except they can't go in the direction they need to go because we lost 1-0. We got shut out for the 12th time. That's not good.
Baseball.
Oh, boy. Well, Lima's out of things to say about it. 216-474-0090. Actually, I think I'm out of things to say about it, too.
What does anybody else have to say about these guys?
What else is there to say? Oh, and except for?
It's baseball.
There you go. 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot joins us on the show. Coming up in 5 minutes, a Watson jersey people in Cleveland might actually want to buy. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, that in 5 on The Fan.
young team, and start packing.
There is an accident on I-90 West at East 222nd Street, and the 2 left lanes are blocked. The overnight roadwork on 77 North along US 30 has been cleared. Meredith Kane with your Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
Cavaliers acquiring Peyton Watson, which immediately the jokes came in. Hey, a Cleveland jersey that people are going to buy with Watson on the back of it. I admittedly, he plays for Denver. It's a good story. He's a 30th pick. He's worked his way up. He had a great season last season. They're going to pay him $88 million. There's some questions about the Cam Whitmore part of this. Meredith addressed it in the update a little bit. You've addressed it off the air a little bit. What's going on there with that part of it before we set sail on this, Tone?
Oh, it's just like for the second time in a few days. It's like, Trey Mann, get excited. Watch all the highlights. Have a take on it. He's actually not going to be a Cavalier. Cam Whitmore, go look at some highlights. Have a take on him. Oh, could he be good? He's not going to be a Cavalier. You just got to wait, unfortunately, and that's what we've been waiting. That's what all Cavs fans have been waiting for, the official pivot from LeBron James. And here we are, the consolation prize for not getting LeBron James. They've been working, honestly, they've been working a bunch on trying to get this solidified. They just had to wait for other things to get ironed out.
By the way, how old is too old to be staying home for the first day of your kid's school? That coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. 216-474-0092, because there's a discrepancy. Not with our station. No. But in the hallways of the Fan this morning, there is rumor abound and a lot of grumbling going on. The locker room in this building, not happy today over first days of school. That coming up at 8 o'clock. Mary Kay coming up at 8:20. So this is what I don't want to do. I don't know much about Peyton Watson, Tone. Like, I want you to educate me more. All right?
By the way, most people out here probably haven't been paying much attention to him at all, except that it became a national story that their owner, Stan Kroenke, just has not wanted to exceed any of the aprons, has not wanted to, go into much of a luxury tax, and wasn't willing to pay to keep players around their all-time great player and championship player in Jokic. So
you guys don't want to talk about it. I think it might rear its ugly head. It's a Jokic thing. Cavs Conversations brought to you by Surfside Hard Iced Tea. They ask you to please drink that Surfside Hard Iced Tea responsibly. 6:26 and 19 seconds for those scoring at home. I told you that Greek team went after Nikola Jokic, and I thought of him yesterday when we were having that NFL in Europe thing. Like, if you're from Bessemer, Alabama, why do you want to live in London, England? Other than if you're 20 years old. Because, we would look at Nikola Jokic from Serbia and be like, why would you want to go back there? You're in America. This is the greatest country in the history of civilization. He likes to go back. He doesn't really like being over here that much. He's a homebody. And you're thinking, well, it's like an hour flight, it seems, from Greece to Serbia, where he's from. It might be a lot easier. But, that's a conversation for a different day. Stan Kroenke doesn't make it any better. I just want to plant a seed.
I think every NBA team is now wondering how they can get Jokic.
Well, that's it. But I just want to plant a seed is all I want to do about that. So I'm going to plant the seed. I'm going to cover it up, and that's the way it goes. Just pay attention to the Nikola Jokic stuff over the next year. Whether it be here or international, doesn't matter. So you can bring in Peyton Watson. What I don't want to do, because remember, I was getting his name wrong when it was first brought up 2 weeks ago. All right? I think we have a bit of a LeBron Chase hangover where you didn't get LeBron. And all we've known, if you're John's age, you've only known the Cavs to be dominant with who? With LeBron. That's it. So all your hopes and dreams are pinned to him. You didn't get him. And it seems that the fallout from it was he wasn't ever even really interested in coming back, which is another kick in the gut for some of the fans out there. So now you have this team. They get swept in the Eastern Conference. Nobody's really excited about him. They've turned on Kenny Atkinson, and in so many ways, rightfully so, when he sticks his foot in his mouth the way he does. James Harden is not the type of superstar that people want to hug and bring in and make him their own. And then you got this Peyton Watson fella. And I don't want him to pay the fiddler because of a LeBron hangover. You get what I'm pointing out here? He could be a fine ball player. and could be a great help because he is a wing. He is good. He averaged 14, 9, almost 15 a game last year with Jokic. So you have a guy that can help you out tremendously. He could be a tremendous player for you, and kind of, if he continues on this trajectory, and I'm speculating now, Anthony, because I don't know as much. I'm going to lay out for you to teach me on this. Like, I could be looking at him, hopefully, as maybe the next Jared Allen in the case of you're way overplaying your contract. Your value is too high with the output that you're able to put out.
Oh, they're banking on that.
There you go. Thank you very much. Because he's so young. So I'm going to lay out now. Tell me why I don't have to worry about the LeBron hangover, and maybe why I'm going to get defensive of him as the season starts with some of the general folks.
The whole thing the Cavs have been missing for so long, and ever since LeBron James left the last time, was athleticism and wing play. And so all along, it was going to be Kobe Altman's difficult task to thread the needle of limited resources and also try to figure out how around the two guards in Harden and Donovan Mitchell could you make up for their defensive issues by having, athletes around them. And as much as, I saw a lot of fans writing their eulogies for Max Strus, that wasn't an athlete that was going to make up for your defensive issues. This guy is unbelievable defensively at the rim, and he's only really had one outstanding month. He was a kind of a project, late first-round pick coming out of UCLA. He was a freak athlete coming out of high school and was, I believe he was a McDonald's All-American, but he was a big-time recruit. Mm-hmm. And then, it just didn't really pan out at UCLA. And then he came out. He was drafted 30th overall by OKC. Always pay attention when, teams like OKC, when you're on their radar. But he really shined when Jokic was injured last year. His January and then first game in February, ironically, against OKC, he was annihilating. He was incredible. He was hitting threes. He had always kind of had a jump shot where people were trying to project what that jumper would be. His free throw shooting got better every year, and people seem to think in the NBA that's a really good indicator of shooting. It's the flip side with Evan Mobley. Like, his free throw shooting did not get all that much better, and so people are wondering, oh no, is he never going to be a really good shooter in the league? Peyton Watson projects as somebody who we could be talking about 3 years from now as a total steal at that 22 per year, $22 million level. The flip side of this is he has no real playoff bona fides. I mean, he's played in a bunch of playoff games, but he's never scored double digits. He's been, a fringe player in the playoffs. So that was in the debate about him versus Kuminga. That's where Kuminga bested him. They're both 23 years old. Kuminga actually, scores as a better athlete, but he does not protect the rim like Peyton Watson does.
Okay.
And point of attack defense, too. Watson has been really good. It's just been in limited minutes. Now he's going to get to show that off a little bit more, as it looks like he's certainly going to be in the starting lineup for the Cavs.
So I'm not a big fan of Jonathan Kuminga. But you just said that he would help for the right now instead of for the future.
Yeah, I think Kuminga today has been a better player so far in his career than Peyton Watson. The tantalizing thing about Watson is he showed off in that month of January against some really good teams, too. He showed up in a way that I don't even think Denver Nuggets fans thought he was capable of. I mean, he had big three-point shooting outputs, big corner three maker, and he even showed that he could play make, from the perimeter. And he had not really demonstrated a lot of that early in his career.
So let me ask you a series of questions here. How do they then thread the needle for the future? Because this is a very young player that could be threading the needle for, okay, do I make him a part of my future with Evan Mobley? Or how much can he help with a right now with Donovan Mitchell, and right now maybe even next year, the year after this year, I'm saying, with Donovan Mitchell, how do I do something like that? Or is that even possible?
Well, he's going to get opportunities this year just frankly because, you look at their roster, there are going to be nights, hopefully, that they are kind of load managing Donovan so that we don't run into the same problem we run into every year where Donovan is basically limping to the finish and out of gas. And also Harden. Harden played the most minutes of anybody on the Cavs last year in the postseason. That's insane. He's going to be 37 this year. James Harden should not be, taking on that load all regular season either, even though that's been his calling card. He's been able to be such a durable regular season player. Like, it's okay if actually load manage James Harden a little bit, and then Peyton Watson will get the opportunity. We had nobody in transition. This guy is a dynamo in transition. We had nobody that could get back on defense or sprint the length of the court last year. This is very different. Peyton Watson could do all of those things, and that was something they were desperately missing.
Do they really think they can compete this year then? Or is this a signal to the fans that we're getting ready for the future even with the players we have now?
I think they think this is a little bit of both. I think based on that month that he put together last year, and then unfortunately was not able to play in the playoffs, and some people in Denver were calling him a quitter because it was, I think, a calf injury, and they were worried that the calf could turn into something worse. You know how that is every year for the NBA players.
Calves are the worst.
But he did not play in the playoffs last year. And people were saying he was putting his contract and his free agency, potential free agency, was a restricted free agency, ahead of the team. Well, isn't that something a lot of guys would do? Like that's the delicate balance of that. Obviously, that did not scare the Cavs off by any means. I do think that he can help them in the interim, and he's projecting long-term as a big-time wing force that can also play the four.
Can I comp him at all to Lauri Markkanen?
Markkanen is tremendously more skilled offensively. Watson has not shown, that ability yet at all.
So I'm asking.
But, man, when you see him in the open floor, I mean, he gets up and down the floor. They just didn't have that. Think of how many times, even last year, we would just be in molasses in the playoffs. And I know so much of that is James Harden dribbling the ball. A lot of times, nobody was getting down the floor. Nobody was able to race down the floor. And nobody could get back. How many times do we see like Harden shoot a three and everybody Olay would go the other way, and it would be especially against the Knicks, games 2, 3, and 4 in that Eastern Conference Finals. So they look at him as, could he be an OG Anunoby, down the road?
That'd be something.
He's nowhere near that right now, but there are a lot of the dorks around the NBA. They are really high on Peyton Watson and have been for a while.
Jeff in University Heights, you're first up in the fan. Hello, Jeff.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Happy Thursday, too. I like the deal, but I'm not ready to start making reservations for a parade down St. Clair in June. I mean, does it make them better? Yeah, but, I've got reservations about a guy that, only signed for a month. I mean, I would have liked to see a little more consistency than that. And it was not the blockbuster deal that all of us wanted. And my problem with the Cavs is that they are depending on a guy who I don't think has much, especially offensively, that they're building around, somebody that I think they should have traded. And that's number 4. So as long as 4 is on the team and as long as 4 is underdeveloped offensively like he is, and Chris Fedor has pointed it out more than once, that he doesn't believe that he's going to be much more than what you see offensively, then are you more mildly excited more than you were, say, this time 24 hours ago? Yes, but I still think they're about the 5th best team in the East at this time.
Jeff, thank you very much for the call.
Yeah, I don't think this drastically changes their win total. I do think on paper, if you look at their roster composition, they have so desperately needed. We just saw on TV, they're showing him get up and down in transition and throw down. Like, they haven't had anybody like that. Dean Wade, God bless him, he couldn't do that.
No.
And so they've been missing that in a big way, and now they're hopefully bridging the gap there. I think you also got to give a ton of credit to James Harden. He was patient with the Cavs. The Cavs promised him and Donovan Mitchell that there were going to be some moves, and he waited and waited and waited and waited, and people are starting to wonder what in the hell is going on here. But this is all part of, think about this, you could not have done this had you not have had James Harden working with the organization.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, or 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. Coming up in 5 minutes, if you're planning on booing Deshaun Watson Saturday, he wants you to know he doesn't care. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live in the fan.
XT.
98 Pella or visit PellaCleveland.com.
The accident on I-90 West at East 222nd has been cleared and the left two lanes are back open. Meredith Kane with your Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
What about the reaction, and have you thought about any type of reaction that you might get at the stadium on Saturday? Are you prepared for whatever might come?
I don't care. I don't care.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
Yes, you do. You absolutely care. Yes, you do. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's reached a dark period. He just really doesn't care. I don't believe him. Yes, you do. You believe him?
Well, what do you think it's been like for him?
That's Deshaun Watson, by the way, in case anybody. I think they're going to be booing Casey Concepcion over there on Saturday. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting for him because I assume when he spent most of his offseason here in Cleveland for the first time, finally.
I don't know. I wasn't keeping track.
No, he was. I mean, he was definitely here for almost the entire time outside of whatever trips. So when he's around town and going to restaurants and stuff, he's not getting booed. He's getting taken care of, right? Like he's at such a different level.
You think he's getting comp food?
No,
dinners?
No, but what I mean
you
is,
said he's getting taken care of. That's what you've always meant by being taken care of.
He's getting the first class service because he has money to do it.
He's paying for.
So he's going to the nicest restaurants. He's going into private rooms, and when those servers are coming up to him, or when he's at a golf course or a country club or whatever, like they're taking care of him, right? He's not experiencing the Cleveland that he's going to be experiencing when he goes out there.
Yeah, because those people in the 537 are not in the private room.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're out there amongst us all. You're in the general population of fans, buddy
so
boy.
I'm sure in his life, he's not experiencing the same Cleveland that he will be coming up on Saturday.
He's about to get a taste of real Cleveland coming up here on Saturday.
So it might be like culture shock to him. For him, in his life, he probably feels like, hey, if he stays away from the internet, and someone like him, I would advise him to do that, and I'm sure the people in his quarter do. I think it could be jarring to him. Like, he's not getting booed every day in his world. It's going to be different when he takes the field, and these people are going to be like, you've ruined our franchise for 4 years. And the move to bring you in has ruined the franchise.
For more than 4 years.
It is just a preseason game. There's not as many fans. It's preseason. I like preseason because it's like, hey, we get to go and we'll watch and we don't care. Like when you go to a regular season game, there is a tense, you're tight, you're just, oh my gosh, we got to get this today. We got to get it going. And then when things don't go your way, boy, it gets real surly real quick.
You said there's not as many fans at the preseason game, which is probably correct. But are there more passionate fans at the preseason?
See, I don't know. I don't think so. No, I think that
I know there's a lot of people that are maybe getting their first experience there.
It's a lot of kids.
See, I think we are overrating. You're going to want to record this one. I think we are overrating the fan reaction on Saturday to him playing. It's going to be the third quarter. A lot of people only stay for the first half and they leave. A lot of families, like Lima said, a lot of kids. If you got your 5 and your 6-year-old and they're going to their first Browns game, and usually, like, I don't know if they let you move down. I don't want to say things I can't take back, but I mean,
sometimes you're invited down. In my experience, I've been invited down.
If I were an usher, do I really want you, leaving behind refuse up there in the upper deck, or like, hey, come on down here so we can put it all together. Come on down. Like, maybe I would do that if I were an usher, but it's just me. I just don't think it's going to be like this chorus of boos when he hits the field in the third quarter on Saturday. Like he's starting the third. So if you're like the first drive, like if they receive the ball in the second half, like there's going to be still people at the concession stand. There's still going to be people going to the bathroom.
It'll be half full.
It's going to be half full. It's going to be half full to start with, and then it's going to be a quarter full at that. And by that time, like if he throws a pick, like you'll be able to hear a couple of people booing. You'll be able to hear a couple of people letting him have it, razzing him. I don't think it's going to be like week 3 It may be bad. It may be very well be bad. Different atmosphere.
Well, depending on their
different amount of
record,
people.
too.
And if
they were 2-0, I bet you he's not getting booed.
Well, do you think they're going to be 2-0?
No, of course not.
Okay, so we can wish in one hand, the rest of the line.
I'm just saying that record will matter. Yes. I think it'll totally matter. I don't think people are going to be booing to nearly the same extent if they actually have a decent record.
216-474-0092. I don't believe there's anybody. I do think we're overrating this. I don't think anybody's going to a preseason game to boo his face off.
Oh, ask the fans.
I'm asking them right now. 216-474-0092. I think it's week 3. You come back from Florida 0-2. You haven't played very well. They intend on starting you still. That's going to be a different story. I'm not talking about week 3 against Carolina Panthers. I'm talking about preseason game number 2 against the Buffalo Bills. There's just so many families, so many kids. There's so much like running around, more dizzy bat race, more fun, more just not caring about the final score. It's almost like minor league baseball. I mean, you really don't. You're there to have fun at a preseason game. Get them addicted to football a little bit. Give them a taste of it. You get to sit there and, hey, take a look at this guy. He's on special teams. Maybe he'll make the team. Maybe he won't. Like there's that conversation that happens. I don't think there's going to be I think maybe some people might talk tough on the phones. I just don't think there's going to be. If he's playing in the third quarter on Saturday, I don't think it's going to be that way. New England, Thursday night, people been up, kind of hanging out, having a good time. I still don't think it's going to be that way. But
is he playing in that game?
I don't know yet. I thought he was. Doesn't he need work? Do you think he's playing in that game?
I would assume the only one I know that Taylor Green said is Taylor Green. Heard nothing else.
Right now, afternoon thunderstorms, still a few days out, but that is
jeez, you're kidding me.
That is right now the projection.
Week 1 of the youth season, I can't be getting thunderstorms going through. We got to get these games in. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me that. All right, 216-474-0092. I tell people I wouldn't go to boo. I reserve your right as a fan, as a paying customer of professional sports to boo. But we've had that argument many, many times. Let me get to, is it Avisha in Orlando, Florida? You're next up on the fan. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Avisha. Go right on ahead.
I definitely disagree with you guys. I definitely think Deshaun is going out and he's getting booed.
In a preseason game?
About it.
In the preseason?
In the preseason. Nobody wants to see him anymore. It's over with for him.
Well, I agree with that. I don't think people want to see him, but I don't think it's the same type of atmosphere. I think it's a different atmosphere. So so you're in Orlando, so it doesn't work. But would you buy a ticket just to go boo the guy?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's start with price. What type? Last time I looked, it was $14 to get in. We could do it. I don't want to do a market watch right now.
Well, you can get a round trip from here to Orlando for like $120.
Okay, so you're into it for $134. You would spend $134 to come here to boo Deshaun Watson, Avisha.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's hate.
Without a doubt.
That's hate. Oh.
It's over with for Deshaun Watson. Get him gone. We're sick of him. Nothing else to play with. You have a new team, new roster, rookies. It's a young world now. Give the floor to Shador.
Whoa! Wait a minute! Just give the floor to Shador. You're saying just back out of the way. Now, wait a minute. Are you a Browns fan or are you a Shador fan, Avisha?
I'm a Browns fan.
Okay, because you mentioned a bunch of rookies, and all of a sudden Shador's name gets brought up.
I love what Shador has to offer. And I feel like it started last year. It's over with. Stefanski, Todd has a different scheme. Get him out there. And, I mean, the money's already spent. So I don't see
agree
the
with
reason with leaving, sitting here with Deshaun. No, just let it go. It's already spent. He's been sitting on the bench. He's been in the back. Nothing else to worry about.
Avisha, thank you very much for the call. I respect your opinion. I do want to know from the locals. I don't want to do locals only here. But 216-474-0092. If you're local, I want to know. $14 to get in last time I looked. Maybe it's up by $1 or $2. I'm not sure. Or down. We'll take a look. Would you spend the $14 to go and boo Deshaun Watson? It's the third quarter. It's not kicking things off. You just got in the seat. You're up. You're amped. You're ready to go. He's going to be out there. He's going to be sitting around, warming up, talking to Shedeur, talking to the other quarterbacks. Then he's going to go hit the field in the third quarter. To really go to boo him, I don't think you would in a preseason game. 216-474-0092. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. And I want to know from Tone whether or not he thinks I'm right or wrong. Coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Deshaun says he doesn't care. I don't believe that. I think he cares.
I actually wonder if in his world he was shocked he was even asked about it. Like, I think guys like that have insulated themselves so
Anthony,
much.
It has been no, I totally disagree. He must have been, if he doesn't realize that, then he must have been to a therapist, a hypnotizer. Is that a word? Whatever. Hypnotist. I don't care.
I'm a hypnotizer.
I think that's a better term. In fact,
I think that's a song from 2003.
No, that's Womanizer by Britney Spears.
Saw a new video that came out with her over the last few days. Another one. Not wearing a whole lot.
No. It's
maybe she needed some people monitoring her every move.
It's gone off the rails, that one.
And every dollar spent.
A lot of people who are, they're hiding from those opinions. They just wanted likes and retweets. Anyway.
I want to be a conservator when I grow up.
Well, play your cards right. Who knows how many marbles I'll have by the time it's all said and done. So I don't think that he doesn't care. And you just said what you said, that, well, in his world, I go, no, we made the biggest damn deal of it for 2 weeks. It was players versus the fans. I was sitting there going, no, there wasn't that many people yelling. I almost sounded like Smithers saying they were saying boo earns. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. He got carted off the field crying.
As they cheered.
As a smattering of fans who happened to be close to the TV mics cheered. I was in the stadium. It wasn't that many. I mean, out of 67,000, if 5,000 people did it, was that many?
That's a lot of people cheering your demise.
That many?
That's a lot of people showing up to your funeral to make sure.
If that's an election, it's a landslide. Just pointing that out. It's still Nixon in 72.
Yeah, if it's drunk drivers, that's a lot of drunk drivers.
Okay, well, let's not compare it to that.
Well, 5,000 is a lot.
You got me on that.
If they're serial killers, that's a lot of serial killers.
That is true. I mean,
so they all turn on each other.
33 for Gacy's a hell of a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the bucket. All right, we're going down a really bad path here. What I'm pointing out is that we had a great big fight over it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it still gets thrown in our face. Yeah, I think he cares whether or not he's going to get booed going out there on Saturday. I just don't think it's going to be nearly as bad as what people envision it. I'm an emotional guy. I'm a dramatic person. I just don't think it's going to be nearly as bad. It's a preseason game. It's the third quarter.
Now, I always do, and you've jumped on me for this in the past. I've always openly questioned what is the point of booing. Not that people don't have the right to boo. Obviously, they do. But
I just think it's better than a lot of other things you can say. So,
well, I've always questioned, like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, the message has been sent when you boo. Like, normally it's based on a player having a really bad performance, and then you boo them on top of it. I've always questioned, hey, some of their psyches can be fragile at times. They're athletes. Maybe they haven't been used to, that kind of reaction. In this case, like, we all understand why they're booing, and I wouldn't even tell fans, like, what's the point? It's a preseason game. It's not like it's going to impact, their wins and losses on the year. So I do wonder what level it is, because I heard this on the afternoon show yesterday, and I do think there are a bunch of people, and we've gotten a few texts, not a ton, but we've gotten a few, of people saying, yeah, they are going to be going there. They're going to wait for him to get in. They're not going to leave early. They're going to wait, and they're going to boo, to continue to send the message to the Haslams that they don't want him on the football team, and they certainly don't want him starting week 1 in the NFL.
I just don't think it's going to be that many, and I think a lot of guys are going to go to a football game with their wife and kids, and I just can't imagine Anthony Lima, if he never would have been in radio, with Sarah and the two little ones, baby Izzy standing there, and you're just, I can't imagine you doing that. I can't imagine it. No, not in a preseason game. Regular season, I don't think you'd bring the little ones with you, and I think you might boo. I'm not saying week 3 you ain't going to boo them and you're not going to be all quiet. No. But preseason, you guys have been to preseason games, man. It's a totally different atmosphere. It really is not an NFL game like a regular season NFL game usually is. The only thing I've seen close to it was that Cardinals game a few years ago where he actually played well, and they won 27-0. 216-474-0092. So I don't want to go fully locals only here, but we did have a call from Orlando, And I don't know her from Adam, so maybe she's correct. Maybe she's telling the truth. She's a Browns fan first. But we do get a lot of calls from Dallas-Fort Worth and Los Angeles and Orlando and Colorado who are Shador fans. Okay, well, I'm not talking. I don't think it's likely that somebody's going to buy a plane ticket, spend the $14 to go sit in the 500s or whatever just to boo Deshaun Watson. That's Robert De Niro and the fan stuff. So I kind of want to ask the guy in Mayfield Heights, Barberton, wherever, local, you going to show up to go to the stadium? You going to boo? 216-474-0092. Third quarter, too. Matthew in Cleveland, that's local. He's next up on the fan. Hello, Matthew.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Doing well, Matthew. Go ahead. You booing or not booing?
Yeah, I'm booing only because it's the controversy around, like, the internet, the clips that's been going around, him saying he don't care. It's almost like everybody is waiting to boo him. Like the Kurt Angle wrestling theme song, "You Suck." Like everybody is just waiting to boo him now.
So him saying he doesn't care actually puts gas on the fire is what you're saying.
Yeah, like
okay.
I believe that before, like people, it was going to be like, you boo, you don't boo. You like them, you don't like them. But now it's like, oh, you asking for it.
I didn't think about that part of it. All right, Matthew, thank you very much for the call. Do you think Matthew's right about that?
Well, I
think he cares. I think I almost said LeBron for whatever reason. I think Deshaun cares.
Well, we've said that Deshaun, one of his big weaknesses is how tone deaf that he has been. I mean, almost from moment one. And, we got into these big debates about where's the remorse. And then we'd have a bunch of people, backing him saying, why does he need to show remorse? Where are the criminal charges? Where is, what does he have to actually be remorseful about? Yeah. And then, going on to attack the people that had the allegations. Like, we had a bunch of that. You remember the first 6 months of the Deshaun Watson run.
That was a long time ago.
But in the end, this is how we compared and contrasted his situation with Michael Vick. Michael Vick served time, showed remorse, came back. And, yeah, there were people still outside of the stadium when he was an Eagle protesting him. But that kind of all went away because he did show some remorse. Still never really happened in Deshaun's world. So that's why the tone deafness that I think that's always accompanied him, maybe it serves him well in this regard. Maybe he can go out there and pretend like this stuff isn't happening.
That would be.
Lima, I think you also have to remember that Michael Vick actually played really well for the Eagles.
He did. And if he went out there and he threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against Jacksonville and Tampa Bay, like if he beat Tampa Bay and they were like 2-0, no one's going to boo him.
I think the people that hate him and despise him would just sell their tickets. They would just be like, you know what? This isn't for us. Our Browns fandom might be on pause. We'll let somebody else go. Or maybe they jump ship. Maybe they're like, all right, it's been enough time.
We appreciate success in this country. Mm-hmm. Like there is part of that plays into this. Amy in Geneva, you're next up on the fan. Hello, Amy.
Hello, first-time caller.
Glad to have you. Glad. No reason to be nervous. You've heard me say stupid things all day. You're not going to hear it. I know you're not going to say anything stupid, Amy. You go right on ahead.
Okay. Well, I was recalling in response to the lady in Orlando that called earlier about flying to Cleveland to boo Deshaun Watson. I'm not a fan of him either. And I live too far away to drive there to go to a game to boo him. But I agree with her. He needs to go. And maybe it's because I'm still like a little butthurt over the fact that Baker Mayfield was traded for him.
It does help. I just don't think, and this is what I think helps it as well. This is why I think it's going to temper the expectation of booing a little bit. Does anybody really think he's going to play well? Like I just said, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Does anybody think he's really going to do that in a regular season game? No. I think that we just think the end is near. I think we've mentally moved on. We certainly emotionally have moved on. He exists. I do think in a regular season game, if he's out there sucking up the room and costing us points because of bad turnovers, you boo him, but you're going to boo anybody who does that. But I think we've already moved on. Like I said it, and Lima didn't throw up a protest. And Amy, I don't think it sounds like you wouldn't either. Like they would have to go on an unrealistic run this year to even consider bringing him back. And even then, honestly, Amy, it's been how many years? I still wouldn't trust him. I'd put him on the tag, and I'd still draft a quarterback.
Yes, I agree. And I do like Shador. I think he's got a great personality and everything. And so I hope they give him a chance at least, because I don't feel like they're really doing that. I know they're trying to get their money's worth with Deshaun right now because they paid a boatload of money for him. So,
See, that's the one thing, and I got to let you go, Amy. That's the one thing I got to disagree with you on, and I'll say it for a third straight day. This stadium, it's a big project. I mean, are they leasing out the IX Center? How's that working? I don't know. Did they buy the property, or they're doing it for the next 3 years? I know what I heard Daryl said, and I think Daryl's probably right. Like, when that stadium gets built, I'm guessing that a lot of these things are probably going to move to the stadium. So they're hedging a lot of things, or banking a lot of things, I should say, on the future. You're eventually going to be asking people within the next month to put down a lot of money on PSLs. It would be much easier for their business to look forward and say, here's this guy that, we fight about him on the internet, and I think there's nut jobs that are not in touch with reality about him, but it's not anywhere near the bad memories we've had about Deshaun Watson over the last 4 or 5 years. So he's much more amenable to a Browns fan to go, hey, let's see what this young man has. If he doesn't, fine. Another name goes on the jersey. See at the draft. With Deshaun, it's Amy just said it, and I think she said for probably thousands of people. It's like, hey, you had a chance to at least argue about something that's a hell of a lot better than this if you would have just calmed down and Baker would have calmed down and everything would have been better. Like, he is a reminder of a lost era of Browns football for these fans. And that means a lot. That's a deep-seated hurt right there for fans. Because you would, if everybody would just not have freaked out the way they did in 2021, you'd have a look at things right now. You'd be in a better position. We might be critical, certainly, of Baker Mayfield. He might be in that Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, got to throw him in there, category of like, hey, you haven't accomplished what we thought you were going to accomplish, but it's a hell of a lot better than any of this.
Yeah, I'll always go back and say that the bottom was falling out there at the end of the Baker experience, and you saw what he did in Carolina the following year. Like, he would not be a Brown after that. Like, he would. I do not see a path where he would have still been on the football team. He would have been in a prove it situation like he is in Tampa this year. Then had he played like he played in Carolina, that would have been it.
Yeah, that's fair. John and Wadsworth.
He had Christian McCaffrey.
Well,
to start out.
let me. If he would have been supported a little bit more, and it sounds like we don't fully know everything, but had there been like, all right, let's work on this. Let's take care of you. Let's go back. We don't need to go to the mattresses. Let's just go back, negotiate something long term. I still think it would be better than the situation we're in right now, because it's hard to make this any worse. And I think that's part of it. Like, if they could sell the future, they're going to try to sell the future. The money to Deshaun Watson's already spent, and I just don't think – I think that ship has sailed, and I know that they've done some crazy things, but trying to squeeze any more blood out of that stone seems to be the craziest of all of it. John and Wadsworth, go right on ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Doing well, John. I'm sorry I was drinking coffee. Go right on ahead, Fred.
Oh, it's all good. Now, two real quick things. I know you guys are up against the break, but one, Ken, I do have to kind of dispute you on that game where he got injured and the fans were booing. That was not a smattering. I was there, and we were all going, what the hell is going on? We're in the pound.
But I was there, and I didn't think there was that many people.
Okay. Well,
but my hearing is very bad. I do tell people, my hearing is very poor.
Well, you were sitting in a much different space than Ken was, John. So you were down there.
True. That's true. Yeah, it was. But I mean, that's kind of my point of my call. Like with the booing on Saturday, I called in to say some of the worst behavior I've ever seen, being down in the pound, is preseason games, because you get these yahoos that can't afford a football game. They drop $20 for a ticket, and then they get absolutely hammered, and then they show up to the game and just act like animals. I mean, the amount of people we saw get thrown out, start stuff with families, yelling at little kids. I mean, it was bad. We're going, what the heck is going on?
Really?
And we all knew. Oh, it was terrible. It was we had one guy get removed because we counted 11 F-bombs he dropped on a kid that couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old.
Whoa.
And then he tried to put his hands on him.
Ooh.
And it was just some drunk college kid. But we saw the worst behavior that I've seen has been during preseason games. But it's also not the diehard Browns fan. It's let's get drunk and go to a game. So if he gets booed Saturday, I would not be surprised at all, because the true fans, they're not going to be down there like, I'm just going, like that caller from Orlando, well, I'll spend $134 to boo. people like us with season tickets, we're not going to boo our own team. That's very.
Oh, John cut off. Oh, there you are. John, I'm sorry. You cut off there for a minute there. I got to let you go. Thank you very much for the call. Boy, that's it. Because I've been to a lot of preseason games in the stadium, and not in certain areas like you're saying, Owen.
Yeah, you had VIP access. How was that one in Seattle? Where'd you sit for that one?
I was on the sidelines. I was
exactly.
working. I was
VIP
working.
access.
And I got cussed out more than anybody at that game.
He was tossing around the fish at the market.
Hey, you go ask Clay Weiss. Clay and I got completely ridiculed walking into the stadium that day. We were harassed hardcore by that psycho that was in the corner.
Talk about fresh fish.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys about this. It's fat ass by nose. I'm going to ask you guys about this coming up in 5 minutes again. 216-474-0092. Maybe John and Wadsworth's right. But I haven't seen that much of that type of behavior. And coming up at 8 o'clock, your kids get a little too old for everything. Does there come an age where they're a little too old for you to be staying home on their first day of school? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Mary Kay, 822 on the Fan.
Anthony Lima for QC Kinetics. When I say 97% of Cleveland patients experiencing real relief, I am part of that number.
website for details.
We have another accident that has popped up, this time on 490 East to 77 South. You're also seeing travel delays on 90 West through downtown Cleveland as it splits off to 71 South. Meredith Kane with your Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
If you can't listen to us live, we've got you covered. You can hear the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima, Baskin and Phelps, an afternoon drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin as a podcast. Full hours, full shows. Find it all on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Boy, there's a lot of people who are saying they're going to boo him on Saturday. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Is there a chance we might get a last-minute scratch for the second half?
And people are saying, by the way, the season ticket holder, like they're saying we cut it on purpose. I didn't cut anybody on purpose. He said it the phone cut out. Yeah. He got his point across, did he not? He said that there's guys in the I didn't know this. There's guys in the dog pound who apparently fall down drunk and start yelling at people.
No, I've never heard of that in the dog pound. Come on.
During a preseason game, though, I feel is still rare. I've been to a lot of preseason games and have stayed until the bitter end. And I've never seen deplorable behavior. It's been, to me, I've seen a lot of, not that it doesn't happen. It's a big stadium. I haven't been to all the preseason games, but damn, I've been to, we've had them for 14 years on this station. I've been to just about every single one of them, actually. Yeah. Stayed for them. I won't stay for this one Saturday. I got things I got to go do. We got other football. But damn, man, I've been to a lot of them. I haven't seen very many. And if I've seen them, I really don't remember them that well. But there's a lot of people going, nope, they're going to go and they're going to boo them. That's some strong stuff right there. Do you believe that they're going to go to just to boo him?
I didn't think so, but after seeing the reaction here, I didn't have none of my buddies were going down with that intent, but seeing on social media, holy cow.
I got a guy, Brownsbacker 15, he has counted the days of him being on the football team. He wrote 1,617 days of hell and counting.
Yeah, somebody said he has a chance to be here longer than Baker Mayfield was here.
Brother, there's guys in Attica who have lost count of that. That's unbelievable.
Now, somebody also did note on social media that this is the same fan base that booed Dylan Gabriel, and what did he do wrong?
What?
Just existed?
Yeah. That was regular season.
Which was still weird.
It's
that one,
guys.
When he came in and relieved
Shedeur no doubt.
One play or two plays or whatever.
There is zero doubt in my mind that you will boo him in the regular season. There is no doubt in my mind that there will be some people who boo him Saturday and even Thursday if he plays in that. That's not official yet. There's no doubt in my mind that you will boo, that some people will boo in the preseason. I just don't think it's going to be this overwhelming chorus of, oh boy, you can't deny it. But for that reason, I will want to be paying a little bit of close attention to the Buffalo feed of things on TV, and I will want to be wanting to pay attention to the Patriots feed of things on TV. Just got to point that out, because if it's there, I want to know about it. Because I'll tell you what, if you're booing him in a preseason game and they still make him the quarterback, if you're the owner, you're the general manager is the general manager. But if Anthony, if you own the Browns and you heard fans booing him in the third quarter of a second preseason game, as meaningless gets for a fan, you'd probably look over to me if I was your team president and look at me and go, boy, he better make damn sure he's won this job. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Yeah. Okay, I'm just can we have some sense here and go, boy, this is not good for business. You would have to make, if you had fans that are there, no, they're staying in their seat and they're going to, I got people here, they're just no, I'm not going anywhere at halftime. I want to make sure I'm there. When he goes out there, I'm booing him. I'm going, oh,
this is why I don't understand that there are people in this town that think this was
an orchestrated thing by Jimmy Haslam?
From Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah, I don't either.
What sense does that make at all?
I don't either. I don't. Again, you're trying to sell. I said it last night on TV. I wish I would have said it on the radio. I'll say it on the radio. If you're trying to sell a house, do you go tell everybody that this is where poltergeist happened? if you're trying to sell a house, do you sit there and go, yeah, we actually have a Native American burial ground right underneath here. You guys don't even know about it. Okay, good luck. Here's the keys. Like, you wouldn't do it. I think there's things you have to disclose when it comes to maybe hauntings and alleged things. I don't know. I'm not a real estate agent. But damn, like, you wouldn't go out of your way to tell people about that. You're building a new stadium. You're going to try to have people put money down, put deposits on PSLs within a month. He's going to be playing while you're going, hey, the deposits are open. Plunk down this amount of money for your PSL to be able to sit in the new stadium. While that's going on, what's an easier sell? Your team, I think you're a 6-win team anyway. So you're not immediately going to go from dark clouds and nastiness to this beautiful ray of sunshine unless Todd Monken's just messing this thing up and Shedeur Sanders really is that brilliant and Kevin Stefanski messed it up, and I just don't believe that like that. You're not going to go from something incredible. So that means you're going to do as little as you can to upset your fan base. But you brought in a new coach. You want to empower that coach. I told you, this organization, in the 13 years they've owned the Browns, they have overcorrected at times of the mistakes that they've made. How many people wanted Kevin Stefanski fired 2 years before he was fired? Why do you think they did that? They wanted to see it through because they fired guys too quickly. They fired guys too quickly, and it's made talented assistants, really, really angry, and those assistants have not wanted to come back here to be head coaches. They've told other people to not come back here to be head coaches. They've tried to learn from that sort of thing. And I'm just talking about the head coaches. Think about when it comes to personnel. Think about when it comes to front office management of the football team. Like, they've tried to make changes in the mistakes that they have to the point where I think at times they've overcorrected. And so they are sensitive to this. And so they want to let Todd Monken make his decision. I think he's going to pick Deshaun Watson to start the season. You guys ain't going to be happy with it, and they're just going to have to deal with it. But on Saturday, if you're booing their faces off when Deshaun Watson goes out there in the second preseason game, like, Anthony, if I owned the Cleveland Browns and the thing was opposite, I would look at you and go, boy, he better be damn sure that this guy's better than Shedeur.
And if you were capable of orchestrating something and telling your head coach who to play, you would just do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, you've heard a coach, you've heard of owners calling down. I mean, Al Davis called plays. Bob Irsay called plays. Ray Farmer got suspended for texting things. Like, things have happened like that in the past. Guys have made their decisions. They've walked in, made trades, fired coaches, hired coaches, done whatever they want. It's their football team. It is plausible, but I just don't believe it in this case because everything in sense would tell you and me, and you love to tell me I'm wrong, would tell you and me that no, the head coach is making this decision. That's true. 216-474-0092. Let me get to Chris is in the Philippines. Chris, I'm not familiar with Chris, good morning. I'm not familiar. What time is it there?
Actually, it's like about 7:35 in the afternoon, in the evening, where it's night now.
In the evening?
Night outside. Yes.
Can you give me some lottery numbers by the chance, or no? Okay. I didn't know how this goes. All right, Chris, go right on ahead. What do you got?
Yes. As far as the whole situation with Deshaun and Shedeur, you know, I'm a Shedeur fan, but Shedeur has actually brought me over to be a Cleveland fan. So I'm all Browns now. I love Cleveland now. And I want him to do good. But with this whole quarterback competition, I just feel like, personally, I've been watching it since the draft. I've been watching it the summer, OTAs, minicamp, rookie minicamp. I've been watching everything in training camp now. From everything I've seen and what's been reported on, his Shedeur has been more consistent. Even in training camp. Out of all the days, it's been, 15, 16 days of training camp. Out of all the days, Shedeur has won like 11 or 12 days. And Deshaun has only won like a couple.
No, what are you basing that on, by the way, that he's won those days?
Well, out of the training camp reports, you know, the QB tracker.
So you're just looking at completions, interceptions, touchdowns, and then you're saying he won the days. It's like yesterday.
Well, and I see the videos.
Did Shedeur win the day yesterday when he didn't get the guys lined up and they had to end the drive with no points? Like, that's the stuff Todd Monken cares about when Deshaun got a field goal off. His team got a field goal off. Granted, there was a pass interference.
Yes, but what about when Jerry Jeudy dropped the wide open pass?
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. But are you doing that for both quarterbacks? Are you monitoring all that stuff for both quarterbacks? And do you have any access to whether or not one quarterback is getting them out of the huddle better than the other?
Well, of course. I mean, I'm not there. I can't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That stuff's
not every single day. But hey, what about last year? Shador got him in and out of the huddle last year. So
he was able to get them in and out of the huddle last year. Now it's a different offense.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes,
and
but
anything
come
we've
on.
heard, well, Chris, anything we've heard, like yesterday when Lima brings up that, you spike the ball before everybody's set with 10 seconds, it's a 10-second runoff.
And you lose the game.
You lose the game. You can't have that. Like that.
And is that on the tracker? Did they show that on the tracker?
He didn't do that last year, but Todd Monken doesn't care about last year. He has to care about trying to win games this year. And that's one of the things that affects him.
Stefanski was irate, as mad as I've ever seen him on a few plays when Shador was out there and they weren't necessarily getting things in. Now, that was a tough spot for Shador, and this is a new offense, so he has to learn all of that. But that's why we've predicted kind of for a while now that Deshaun would have the edge, even if he had problems of his own.
But to me, there's no way in the world a guy that hasn't played football in around 2 years has an edge over a guy that just played 7 games last year. And from all intents and purposes, from the game that I saw last week, he was way better knowing where to go with the ball. He was faster in his decision making. He processed great. Yes, he had a little overthrow, but we can nitpick and say, hey, Deshaun Watson fumbled the ball, so both of them had a turnover. But Shador had the best throws.
Well, it's not like Chris. Like we might be having a race to the bottom here, and I thank you very much. Like when it comes to the quarterback competition, thank you for the call. Like I'm not going to sit here and say that Shador Sanders has been garbage because I don't think he's been garbage. I do think that Deshaun Watson will be named the starter and has a leg up to be the starter because of the things that you and I just illustrated that you can't really always see in camp.
And I got to tell you, I think both these guys have been garbage.
From what we've been told.
I think relative to the rest of the league, to like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow.
It is the worst quarterback room in the NFL.
Yeah, I do think both these guys have been garbage. I think that's why Darryl said what he said yesterday, where he said this has been horrible to watch.
But let me point it out to Chris, or like a caller like Chris. Who's going to play more this year? Shador Sanders will probably play more this year.
Yeah.
So he's got to reset himself. Just because you're the starter week 1 doesn't mean you're even going to be the starter week 2 in these cases. 216-474-0092. Mary Kay coming up 8:20 this morning. Coming up next, about last night. Yeah, no? You want to keep it going? We'll keep it going. Cut off about last night. Turn those machines off. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Yeah, I know. I have to address the Akron situation because all you guys think that situation is rigged. That will be coming up live on The Fan.
The instant...
There is a code word that you are going to need coming up at 9 o'clock for Fan 15, our celebration at Dave & Buster's. I'm going to talk to you seductively. It's true. That's how I got my wife 15 years ago. What are you shaking your head for over there? I asked her the same question. She did the same thing, Owen.
I thought you said you want to get married or not. You want to get hitched or not.
No, but that's not the dance of seduction. See, when I went to date her,
you want to go to this Fan 15 or not?
But we just had a great big fight, and then I went upstairs and I said, "Well, you gonna get married or what?" And I held the ring up, and that was the end of it. Now we're married. Been married 15 years. Happy times.
Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. See if we make it to 16. I got a good feeling, but, you never know. Same thing with the Fan. I think we'll make it to 16, but you can celebrate our 15th anniversary coming up on September 3rd, Thursday night, Dave & Buster's. And you can get the VIP experience when you get that code word coming up at 9 o'clock. You must be hanging on every word or you shall be lost. Mary Kay Cabot at 8:22. I'm getting the pictures of the first day of school. And I want to ask, how old is too old for you to stay home for the first day of school? Because there is a major controversy brewing in these hallways. And I just want to ask the question. Because Owen and I had the same thought, and I think Lima had a much different one. And I want to ask everybody that coming up at 8 o'clock. Also, do you think, by the way, it's been a fair competition?
Not entirely.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do
really? I think it's been as fair as you could possibly make it.
Well, I guess we're kind of arguing semantics. Like, I'm kind of in the Louis Riddick camp that there is no such thing as a totally fair camp. But I also think had Shedeur have just played magnificently, I think that would have forced them to go back to the drawing board and then change things. He has not, and so that's why. And not just the throwing. That was what I was laughing with the last caller. It was a great caller from the Philippines, of all places. But what was he totally relying on? The quarterback trackers. But what those quarterbacks...
he's half a world away.
Yeah, but people here in Cleveland are relying on the trackers.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's dumb.
They could be entertaining. But again, did the trackers show you anything that if there was a game yesterday that Shedeur Sanders ended the game by not getting the guys lined up? But that, to Todd Munkett, is way more important than whether Shedeur in 7-on-7s completed a dump-off out of the backfield or a wheel route.
Reaching to the choir,
Like, that's what I mean. And that's why when we had Herm Edwards come on yesterday, Herm Edwards is like, laughed off the tracker. He was like, that stuff is irrelevant. That doesn't in any way shape a coach's thoughts on whether a player, a quarterback, is taking what he's learning in the film that day and then taking it out on the field.
You do want him to complete passes. You do want him to complete passes. You do want him to hit guys in stride. You do want him to make the right decisions on those passes. But there's so many other things that you need him to do to be able to get to where he needs to go, and that's part of the issue. And I got Darryl Ryder, who you mentioned. You said you thought they were both garbage. I don't want to call them both garbage because. One,
if I were anywhere else outside of
ready
Kenny,
for a season,
if you were right, but if you were hosting a national show and a caller called up and said, Browns quarterback situation, you would say what? You'd call it garbage. That's what you would say about these quarterbacks. That's what you would say.
Can you ask me another team's quarterback situation?
Pac-Man Jones show.
The Jets.
It's garbage.
Right.
Cardinals.
I like Jacoby Brissett. Good man. Smart man.
The quarterbacks themselves.
Garbage. Damn it. What does Darryl Ryder think of it?
I'm so over this quarterback competition. I wouldn't start any of these guys. I'd go out and get somebody, but that's not going to happen.
Easy, Jeff Phelps. He's trying to go get Will Levis.
Are you a Tyson Badgett guy?
It's so bad. It's amateur hour out there at times. We're going to sit here and praise guys because they can call a play in the huddle and go to the line of scrimmage and do the pre-snap stuff. That is growth. That is progress. Shedeur Sanders couldn't even execute a kill the clock in a game-ending situation today. Deshaun Watson continues to misfire awfully bad. This isn't NFL quarterback play that we're getting to see on a day-in, day-out basis in Berea. It's going to put a heavy burden on the skill position players to elevate the quarterbacks. Usually it's the quarterback that elevates the skill positions. Well, this year it needs to work in reverse for the Browns. It's the skill position players that are going to have to elevate these quarterbacks because they're just not very good.
Is there any sort of a chance this offense could be worse than what it was last year? There's really none, right? It can't be any worse than what it was last year. Daryl just scares the bejesus out of me.
It's hard to say worse.
No, it can't be.
But I do think they got to be able to run the football, and that's going to take time for the offensive line to gel in any meaningful way to be able to do that. It doesn't matter how, like, your receivers are not going to bail you out of that situation. If you're in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15 because of penalties, or you're holding because your offensive line is struggling that much, like, it doesn't matter how good KC Concepcion is going to be because they're going to be able to tee off on you.
You know what I just thought of? Do you think that the defense has been a little chippy because they know they're not getting a good look? Like, do you think that, like, Jared Verse and a couple of the veterans you have go, hey, you know, it ain't going to be like this week 1? Like,
Kenny, how many of these reps look like a total joke?
Trevor Lawrence is a pretty good quarterback.
That they are blowing things up before Deshaun even has a chance to hand off the football. Like, the play's over. Like, that you're not even getting real work in. And what is it going to be like?
I think Mike Hall might have decapitated somebody in a real game in one of the plays a couple days ago. 216-474-0092. Like, it's rough, man. That's rough stuff. I mean, Daryl just bring down the mood of everything. And the reason I stopped short, honestly, Anthony, is because, I am a Browns fan, and it brings me no joy. I still remember last year, and it was like the week before the season started, and there were people going, man, you ain't getting us going. Let's get going. And I caved into pressure, and they were bad. They were a 5-win team. Everybody wanted coach fired. Everybody wanted everybody gone. And I still remember that. And I'm like, nah, I can't do it this year. I got to tell it the truth of how I sees it. But I just don't want to be such a downer every single time, because I do think there's players that are good. And if I ask for more time, it just sounds like I'm making a giant excuse for the guys who drafted and put them in this position in the first place, especially with that quarterback trade. And that's not what I'm trying to do. But I do think that there's some good players here, and I just don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and have a situation like we had 10 years ago, where then we really got to start from scratch. I don't want to do that. But I know, like, when people are saying, well, we're just a quarterback away. We're a quarterback away from what? It ain't competing. A quarterback away from starting to be taken seriously, starting to get back to zero so then we could start to grow. That's what I think people really mean by it. Because then if I have a quarterback, I just feel more confident going into a situation than I did last year or probably this year. That's what I'm saying about 2026 to 27. Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. How old is too old? It's a question I have to ask you parents in 5 minutes on The Fan.
We're not going to test it in any sort of way, and just pass that, and then we can see what happens moving forward.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2.
1, 2, 3.
We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
What's going to need to look good today against the Buffalo Bills in a joint practice? That in just moments. Mary Kay going to join us at 8:22 this morning. Fan 15 contest, your chance to get that VIP experience coming up at 9. There is controversy brewing in the hallways of the Fan. And it's not just our station. It's not even our controversy, to be honest with you, but I thought I'd bring it to our station because today is a big day in our school district, as well as it's been a big week in a lot of school districts. It's the first day of school. And we have a host on another station, and she has taken the day off. Now, remember, there is a point to this, why it's a she, and I'm asking questions. She's taking the day off. It's her kid's first day of school. And I can't help it. Immediately, I had the same thought that somebody else did. I go, and the oldest son in high school? And I went, well, in my head, I said, it's got to be different for a mom, right? Because I've never taken the first day off of school, but I'm not a good dad. What is the age limit? I think I'm guessing there's a difference between daughters and sons, possibly. And maybe the relationship between a mother and a son and a mother and a daughter, father-daughter, the whole thing. What is the limit? What is the age first day of school? Is there a limit? I'm wondering. Because there were a lot of people going, no, really? First day of school? He's in high school. Now, the younger one, I think, is in middle.
Yes.
But the older one is in high school. So what is the age?
I don't think
is
you
there
go
an
by
age
the
limit?
older kid. You go by the younger kid.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. I think
okay.
But still, I know the age of the younger one. I have a child the same age as that.
Okay. Can we throw an age out there? That's too old. The age of the younger one, even. Yeah. Interesting. Now. She's the mom.
It's middle school, yeah.
Is that too old for mom?
I think there's always a place for mom.
Well, Joan London told me about that, but yeah.
No, mainly because I do think that moms and dads have a different,
relationship.
They care about the kids way differently than we do.
Yeah.
Right. You want to see them. It's not that you want to see them stumble and fall, but I think sometimes you let them take those risks and know that there might be a failure in it, on the playground, right? They might get hurt a little bit and you go, well, that's part of growing up. I think for us, that's like, dad's just not going to be there on the first day of school. That's part of growing up, right?
Yeah.
At some day, you're going to fly the nest and nobody's going to be there for your first day of work, right? You're just an adult now. But I don't think moms see it that way.
Lima didn't have any idea about this, and Owen and I just went, you're going to deal with this in 2 years, buddy.
Yeah. Well, and also because, obviously, when I did have a little more of a nuclear situation when I was young, it was still just me going out to the school bus.
That was a fun 90
shelter,
days.
And then coming home, it was me having the house to myself. Like, none of this existed. There was nobody there either way.
Even like your first day of kindergarten?
I'm sure back then, but we're talking high school. Like, my God, I was working. The minute school ended, I was off to the golf course. And I would lose my hubcaps on a gravel road to sprint to the golf course to clock in so I could make more money.
Well, you'd lose more time because you had to go back and get the hubcaps.
No, they were just out there. I didn't even bother. Yeah.
Well, how many hubcaps did you put on the Sportsica? You only had 4 at one point.
But we rotated. I had some extras. They were all gone because I was flying. So this world didn't even exist to me.
Well, there's no social media back then.
Yeah.
So
you think that's a big part of it? Is they're just taking the pictures?
I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm not trying to step in it. I'm just
Reckless
trying to tell the truth. I'm just trying to tell the truth here.
I hadn't seen that text.
Well, I didn't do that. What do you want? I wasn't being nasty. I was just saying. There has to be a correlation between people staying home with social media. Oh, God, I knew you were going to do this.
I didn't do this.
Yeah,
you did. I didn't say a word about it.
You're telling me there's no correlation between social media and people staying home for the first
kid? You bring it up, Ken, I can see why you've got such a big problem with it.
But I'm pointing it out. There has to be. I don't have a problem with it at all.
That's not what I heard.
No.
I'm texting that person right now.
I don't have a problem with it at all. It's their family. They can do what they want. I'm asking the question because my oldest Like, he's not in high
Do you
school
want me
yet.
to tell her to just don't post it? Or
Who?
Well, this person that you have the problem.
No. They can do whatever they want. Don't you text anybody over there. Get off the phone right now and participate in the show. Don't you text them.
I just got to send this text out.
Don't text them. I just want to know, is there an age limit there? That's what I'm asking. I need an answer.
Yeah, I do wonder about, man, even like I have seniors this year, and like it's the first day, right? Like, it kind of sucked not being there. At the same time, it's 3 minutes of time in a day.
Yeah, you have two
and with this, well, one's they're at different schools, so one doesn't start for another week.
Oh, okay.
The other one started on Tuesday.
You having that same graduation party deal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get a ride because I really wanted to stay last time. 2 years ago, at the last graduation party they had last summer, not this summer, last summer, that was awesome.
We're doing brunch on a Sunday.
Man, at your bar, I was like, oh man, it could be my time to shine. It's my graduation all over again. I wanted to stay.
The other thing that's great about
Owen's an excellent host.
This yearning for social media, of whatever it is, I don't know, adulation or credit for having kids. I don't know what it is, but
you're not going to kill him for that.
But
come on.
But
he's just speaking. He's a young parent. He doesn't.
But what I laugh at is the giving away for all these people that are like, we got to protect our children. And yet they have all the information about who their kid is in the pictures. And then, especially for the ones in high school that play sports, now it's gone from, hey, just here's a basketball graphic in my yard to denote that my young one is on the basketball team. Now it's name, number, and sometimes full cutout image.
We had that back in the day, though.
We didn't.
And we had that. No, I didn't have the face. I didn't have the face there.
What's funny is it's like we did everything we could to protect the identity of our children, and here we're just giving it away. Now you know where they live. Now you know what they look like. Now you know their full name.
Yeah, but Tone, see, you didn't play sports. You didn't get it. The home of a Perry Panthers sign, that was what it was about, man. That was a bbig damn deal. And I got 2 because they spelled my name wrong on the first one.
Might as well put their Snapchat handle on there as well, Instagram handle.
How do you spell Ken wrong?
Rob in Strongsville, you're first up on the fan. Hello, Rob.
Hey, guys. Listen, as far as back to school, I think you're looking at it a little bit backwards. I think a lot of parents these days look at it like St. Patrick's Day or opening day. They get their kid on the bus, they drop their kid off, and they go somewhere and they have a brunch. They have mimosas, they have Bloody Marys, and they kick the school day off. So I think they're looking at it that way, like, get them out, let's kick this thing off. We got some freedom back. That's
okay.
all. Have a good day.
Rob, thank you very much for the call.
Who was doing brunch and mimosas on a weekday? What place is that?
People with a good idea, that's who's doing it. If you're taking the day off, you go have brunch and mimosas,
I just don't know where the venues are.
Can you have it on the front porch if the weather's good enough?
You'd have to host and do your own. I mean, maybe you and your friends all get together and.
Me and my friends, I'm here at 8 in the morning.
All your rowdy friends would be over to 9.
At 9 a.m. Jim in Strongsville, hello.
Look, I can't. You're sitting here talking out of both sides of your mouth. Well, no. I don't care. Clearly, you do care what people do. Why do you care what somebody takes a day off to do? I don't care if they take it. Whatever they want to take a day off to do.
Oh, you're such a great person, Jim. You're just the best of everything, aren't you?
You're saying everything's okay. What do I care? But what's the age cutoff?
I'm asking a question. I don't know. I wanted to ask the question. I don't want people to think it's weird if we stay home for my son's first day at junior year of his high school years. Is that a little bit weird? What?
Why do you care?
Because I want to know. Because I want to know.
For what?
Why do you care to listen? Why do you care to call in and babble about some of the inane garbage that you've babbled about over the last 15 years?
What your neighbors have, Ken. Worry about yourself.
I'm not talking about the neighbors. I'm not to know. You weren't listening. You weren't listening. You just wanted to call in and scream at me. I was asking about somebody else here at the station. I did not say anything about my neighbors at all. See, that's the difference. I know the radio's on, but you got to actually listen to what's being said, Jim.
I hear everything, Ken. I think you're the one that, you constantly change the narrative. You're the new Lima.
Oh, you hear it, but you ain't listening. How can I be? Listen, you ain't gonna spin me. You ain't gonna work me in any shoot.
You're doing a whole segment on what's the age that's too much. What do you care?
I wasn't doing a whole segment. I was going to move on to the defense.
He's too old to be kicked in the face.
Why do you care what somebody takes their time off to do?
God in heaven, sweet chin music. It is a
Wasn't my call for everybody out there listening.
I do think Jim to question the content of the show is.
I'll see Jim at Fan 15.
Oh yeah,
almost said Freshman
He'll
15.
Jim will probably have that put on by then.
I don't know. God
I know
willing.
you will.
You bet your ass. Does the defense got to look good today?
Ooh.
You weren't ready to answer that.
I was not ready to answer that at all.
Does the defense have to look good against the Buffalo Bills today? Because we did just get done saying, before Jim started screaming at me, and we took the other call, we did just get done saying that they haven't been really given a good look in practice.
Yeah, but if you're going to spend multiple days fighting Quinshon Junkins, you better be ready to get after James Cook.
Good point. It's a salient one.
Now, the Bills have had one of the best offensive lines in football, right? Like, that's been their
Been a pretty good
calling
offensive
card.
line, yeah. When healthy, but that's the same thing with everything.
They've been a great rushing offense for how many years?
Calls are coming in. Why is everybody calling from Strongsville? We got like 8 calls from Strongsville.
Maybe this is their calling card. They love
the first day of school
to devote their entire first day.
I mean, I would always figure that the kids would be let go on the first day of school and the parents in Chagrin Falls would get together.
The kids are out. We've had them bogging us down all summer.
Apparently it's big in Strongsville. Had no idea. Mary Kay. I want to ask her that question. She's got 3 kids. They're grown.
Did this mean anything to her? Although you imagine she always had to be at Browns camp around the first day. She might have had to punt those responsibilities.
216-474-0092. Mary Kay Cabot going to join us in 5 minutes, as well as who's going to be named captain? They're not going to put that on his jersey, are they? No, they're not going to put that on his jersey. Shut up. No, now you got me worked up twice in a segment. No, it can't work out that way, Owen. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan.
for an update on Quinshon Judkins this afternoon. He didn't practice yesterday. Well, the team did not announce why Judkins sat out of practice. He was the recipient of a lot of the chippiness on Tuesday that led to Todd Monken ending practice early. Want to catch highlights from the Fan from throughout the day? Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite the Fan on the Odyssey app for all of today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
Training camp coverage powered by Genesee Brewing Company. 92.3 The Fan.
Your chance to go to Fan 15 and get the VIP experience. I mean, you can go anyway, but you can get the VIP experience coming up at 9 a.m. But you must get the code word or you shall be lost. It's 8:20 on Thursday. It's Mary Kay Cabot. She's on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, call Kyle Right hotline. Hello, Mary Kay.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. I have a question to ask you about your children at the end of this segment. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I want to ask you. Be ready for it. It's going to be wild. I mean,
I'm ready.
It won't be that crazy. Has Todd Monken already made his decision, and is that decision Deshaun Watson?
It seems like that's the lean, but I honestly can't say. They wanted to get through this pivotal week. I think that this is a big practice for Deshaun and Shedeur today against the Bills. And I also think that Shedeur can do some things when he goes out in that game on Saturday to prove to them that he can handle the whole entire operation of a game and manage it well. So I'm going to say that even though the lean does seem to be Deshaun, that it's not over yet.
Mary Kay, you've obviously been following this as close as anybody, and some Shedeur fans are upset about the distribution of reps going forward because of the intrigue of this week, and then knowing that the Patriots game could be a total afterthought. So do you think they've got a bone to pick with Todd Monken when it comes to the level of fairness or lack thereof?
No, I think they've done a really good job of giving these two guys a fair chance to win this job and equal reps. And I think that Shedeur has done a really nice job in the competition. He's kept himself in it to this point, and that's not an easy thing to do when you're going against a three-time Pro Bowler with all that kind of experience that understands how to run this kind of an offense, which is very QB-centric. So, no, I think it's been a very fair competition, and I think Shedeur, every time he's had an opportunity to rise to the occasion, I feel like he's done so.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us here on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, call Kyle Right hotline. Do you think fans are going to boo Deshaun Watson in the third quarter on Saturday?
Well, I would hope not. I hope that, that fans would support the person that might be their starting quarterback this season. But, I could also see it happening based on some of the things that we even saw last year with Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel went in for a play against the Buffalo Bills last year and got booed. There is a phenomenon that is going on right now with Shedeur Sanders that is unlike anything that I've ever seen before, and just in terms of the fan reaction and whatnot. And he's beloved by the fans, and that makes it difficult on whoever is going to be in there instead of him. And that's just the reality of the situation. You guys have seen it. I've seen it. When Dillon was trying to play, he had to deal with chants for Shedeur and signs and boos for him. It's part of it. And then you add in the whole Deshaun as villain concept because of some things that have gone on, or the things that have gone on in his career and his life. And then it adds to it. So it's something that has to be addressed, in my opinion. I think it's something that the people in Deshaun's camp, if they haven't already addressed it, hopefully they have all somehow worked with him to make sure that he's prepared for what that's going to feel like for him. Like I said, it happened to Dillon. If it was going to happen to Dillon, then it's possibly going to happen to Deshaun.
Mary Kay, when we had Herm Edwards on yesterday, he kind of laughed at the notion that anybody would care about the tracking of completions, touchdowns, and interceptions in a training camp. He basically talk from a coach's perspective about all the other things you would never see. And I'm curious what you think about that between these two quarterbacks. We saw notably yesterday how practice ended, where Todd Monken was none too happy about Shedeur not being able to get a playoff on time, resulting in a 10-second runoff because guys weren't lined up and he snapped the ball. And those are the little things that add up. How do you think the two quarterbacks are doing when it comes to all those little things that, for a coaching staff, turn out to be pretty big things?
Well, I think the thing to remember when you're talking about Todd Monken is the fact that he is a stickler for those details. He hates crappy football, and I mean, we've seen him cancel practice over procedural penalties or cut it short. He hates that stuff. And once again, as I mentioned before, this offense emphasizes QB control. You have to be on top of things at the line of scrimmage. And in that particular regard, Deshaun has the edge right now because he's done it so often. He did that exact same thing in Houston in the Bill O'Brien offense. So he's well-versed in all of the things that he's expected to do right now. And Shedeur's still kind of coming up the learning curve on that. Doesn't mean he won't get it, but he's come leaps and bounds from where he was even in April. But I would say that Deshaun is still ahead in that regard. And if he wins the starting job, it's because of that. And the other thing about this situation is the fact that Shedeur can make incredibly explosive plays, and he looks good doing it. And he has an uncanny, natural feel for the game that is enticing. There's no question about that. And he might even look better than Deshaun in this practice, and he might go out and light it up in the game if he's got KC and Denzel out there. But if that happens and he still doesn't win the job, it's then because Todd is looking for someone who can make sure that the game is managed effectively and appropriately, right from the start to the end. And we'll see how it goes, but that's the situation right now.
See, that's kind of the thing I'm thinking about here this whole time. Like, everybody wants to see explosive plays. Everybody wants to see big plays, but you only get one crack or two cracks a game at doing something like that. That doesn't win a game. We've seen that before. And I think that that's kind of where his base is. He just kind of wants to see somebody who can manage a game, try to eliminate turnovers, try to move the ball down the field, put them in scoring position just about every single time they possibly can, so they don't have to sit there and rely on their defense to win every single game that they have a chance to, like they've had to over the last couple of years.
Well, that is true, but the other thing that has to be taken into account here is Deshaun can't get back into throwing interceptions. He threw 2 interceptions yesterday. Now, albeit he was working with the second team, but he did throw 2 more interceptions yesterday, and then Emmanuel McNeil-Warren dropped a third. And if he is doing things like that today, that's not going to be helpful to him in this quarterback competition. And that was happening early on in practice. Then he cleaned it up, and then it reared its ugly head again yesterday. So he's got to stay away from those kinds of things, because if he can do that, then he can manage the game well enough to Todd's liking, I think, to at least go out there in the early going on the road, handle the silent counts and all of that stuff, to keep them in the game, like you said, to then, have the defense really sort of take over and do its part.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us here on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. What do you need to see out of the defense today in that joint practice with the Bills?
Well, pretty much the same things that this defense has been doing all camp. It really looks like a formidable defense, and we haven't even seen it out in full force. We have not seen Carson Schlesinger. We have not really seen Mike Hall for the previous 10 days. He returned 2 days ago and looked really, really disruptive at the line. They used him at end. He looked really good. We haven't seen too much of Denzel Ward. We haven't seen a ton of Tyson Campbell lately. So I think that this defense is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I've seen Mason Graham elevate his game to a new level. Jared Verse has been an absolute beast. So I think it's a really good defense, and I think that it will probably show out today.
The defense kind of getting into it with the offense here. It's kind of been a running theme. Todd Monken's had to address it a few times. Things have gotten physical. He's had to end practice early. Do you think that they're frustrated, maybe that they're not getting the look that they think that they need to get ready for the regular season?
Well, it's that point in camp where you just get frustrated about going up against each other day after day after day after day. And this has been a really, really tough and intense camp. This is very different than what we saw, in my opinion, under Kevin Stefanski the last few years. Todd does not do a whole ton of 7-on-7s. He does a lot of those very demanding, punishing 11-on-11s. He's trying to get this team ready to play. And so I do think that they have reached that point where they want to go after someone else and, try to get to another quarterback and try to knock the pass away from another receiver. So it's time for that. But cooler heads are going to have to prevail today. This practice cannot get wrecked by fights, and it has the potential to do that, but hopefully that won't happen.
All right, Mary Kay Cabot joining us right now on the hotline. So clearly, to get work done, the offensive line is going to actually have to block something that they couldn't do a lot of in the preseason game, and now they're going to have to show to try to help both Shedeur and Deshaun. Do you think they're up to the task, or do you think they are probably weeks away from gelling?
Well, the hard part about the offensive line is that they've been a little bit banged up, and they haven't really been able to see their starting five out there all together as much as they would have liked. Even their right guard, they've had issues there with Tevin Jenkins. Elton Jenkins, their center, has had a few issues there. They really wanted to get a good look at Parker Brailsford at center, and he suffered a wrist injury. So they really haven't been able to just get that five out there, get it settled in. And then the other thing is they haven't had one quarterback to get used to that cadence and to understand his timing and his tendencies on third down. I mean, they just haven't really had that. So hopefully for them, they can settle on a starting five and a quarterback soon and get the starting 11 working together.
Michael Coates have a chance to make this team? Has he already made this team?
I think so. When you're that much of a ball hawk, he just has a natural nose for the football. I think that he probably does have a good chance to make the team, especially at a premium position where those guys are hard to find.
All right, Mary Kay, real quick, we have a diabolical question that we have to do rock, paper, scissors to see who has to ask you the question.
It's
all
a
right?
good one, Mary Kay.
It's rock, paper, scissors,
yes.
shoot. Okay,
yes,
ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. He put up.
I put up scissors.
And I got paper.
Kenny got so scissors beats paper, so that means Ken gets to ask today's diabolical question, brought to you by... We'll
frustration?
Get a sponsor for it. Okay, go ahead. But Todd seems frustrated, Mary Kay.
Bad contract.
At the end of all the... we keep going. We keep going if you want, but go ahead, Kenny.
All right, diabolical question. Watson, if they make him the starting quarterback, it seems that they will make him the starting quarterback. Correct. Will they make him a captain?
I could see them making a captain. What you guys or what people on the outside don't understand is that his teammates like and respect him, and they always have. And he's very much a team guy, and he's very, very much about winning and the team. So I would think that they would if they name him the starter.
Oh, really?
Whoa! Mary Kay.
My heart wasn't into that one.
Well, you didn't want it. You don't want him to be the captain.
No. How are you going to make him the captain if he's going to be out by week 3?
Well, they're not banking on that. Todd Monken thinks he's going to coach him up, and he's going to get better each and every week. Sorry,
I want your opinion, not Todd's, or what you think Todd's opinion is.
We're having a sidebar discussion. Well, let me ask you, Mary Kay, because clearly Todd has been very frustrated at the end of the last few practices. Now, a couple days ago it was because of how physical it was, and Shedeur gets run into. He had a guardian cap ripped off at one point. Do you think it's normal for frustration to set in for the players? Is he getting frustrated because he expected them to be further along, or is that just Todd Monken in general?
Well, it's different situations each time. One time he halted practice because he saw defenders crossing the line, and he even had words with his defensive coordinator, Mike Rutenberg, about that. So that's different than players making mistakes. He has very, very little tolerance for mistakes, so that's why he ended another practice. So it's just different each time, but I think he's trying to establish a culture of excellence, a culture of toughness, and a culture of clean football. And it takes time to get those things instilled in a football team, but he's not taking any BS from these guys. He's going to be out there yelling and screaming until they get it right. And if he has to cancel practice, he'll cancel practice.
All right, Mary Kay, I have a personal question to ask you. You reared 3 children. How old is too old for a son? Are we keeping it to sons, Owen? How old is too old to stay home from work on the first day of school for your son's first day of school? How old is too old for him?
For you to stay home on his
Yes,
first
for
day
the
of school?
for the parent to stay. Yes, for the parent to stay home on the first day of school. Yes.
I don't know that I ever stayed home on their first day of school. I'm pretty sure I got them to school and went to work.
Hard charging Mary Kay.
You got stuff to do. Enough of this novelty of the kids and the photo ops and the social media and the Instagram.
Nasty tone.
But I might add, you have to go to work a lot earlier than I did. I was able to get the kids off to school and take the cute little picture in front of the door. So if you have to go to work and miss that, then I would be all for sticking around and getting that photo and having that moment with them on a particular day. And if you need an age for that, I would say maybe first grade would be the last time.
First grade? Damn, Sam. Okay. All righty. Oh, I like that. All right, Mary Kay, we thank you so much for your time. All the best to you and your 3 wonderful children and your husband, and I think you probably have a dog. I don't know. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. 2 cats. Bye.
2 cats. Wonderful. With 2 cats in the yard. Beautiful.
West Side Elite.
Oh, she is. The K Kabats are definitely well-to-do. Well-to-do, folks. You're going to make me ask this stupid captain question?
Okay, I thought she had an amazing response.
All right, fine.
About why it's not as crazy as we all think.
All right, John will run on it. We'll replay it for you coming up in 5 minutes, as well as I reached out. They told me it wasn't rigged. You guys definitely all think it's rigged. That at 9:20 on The Fan.
on 92.3 The Fan. Brought to you by Expert Renovations. ExpertRenovations.LLC.com. Your morning routine has changed. Wake up with the Fan Warm-Up Show with Jeff Thomas. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m. Catch up on all the latest from Cleveland sports from the night before and around the sports world leading up to the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. It's the Fan Warm-Up Show with Jeff Thomas. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m. on 92.3 The Fan.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I put up scissors.
And I got paper.
So scissors beats paper, so that means Ken gets to ask. Today's diabolical question.
Watson, if they make him the starting quarterback, will they make him a captain?
I could see them making a captain. What you guys or what people on the outside don't understand is that his teammates like and respect him, and they always have. And he's very much a team guy, and he's very, very much about winning and the team. So I would think that they would if they name him the starter.
That is Mary Kay Cabot with us, and that is as diabolical question as you're going to get. So did they all...
People are not going to be happy.
Did they all like him more than Nick Chubb when they made him captain and took the C away from Nick Chubb?
I still don't understand how that one went down.
I don't think that that's the case. Because they gave $230 million guaranteed to their quarterback, and they knew it would be weird if they didn't make him the captain, so they had to make him the captain. And he didn't go out there and play like a captain. Then he got hurt and didn't show up to the building. Where's the lie? Sorry.
He's going through his rehab elsewhere. Ken.
Okay, yeah, there's videos of him gallivanting, because that's the great word. No one uses gallivanting in a positive light. It's always bad. So I'll say it like this. He's out gallivanting in Miami.
Yeah, they don't
across the world.
They don't say Mother Teresa was out there gallivanting
and
while
helping
she was
people. Like, they don't do that. Gallivanting's not used positively. I want Andrew Siciliano. I'm going to tell you this. If Casey Concepcion breaks one, I want to hear Andrew say gallivanting to the end zone. So we can use it as a positive this time, okay? We can do that. Was he acting like a captain then, though?
No.
Because Matthew Stafford was riding around on the bike and doing all that stuff.
Dak Prescott showed up to games on crutches.
Now, but you remember this. He went up to the suite when the game started. Because you have to go up to the suite when the game starts.
I get rolled up on.
We remember that whole argument. You remember that. So
Hugh Freeze went to that one game.
But, there's a lot of guys who've changed since the beginning. I mean, there's a lot different personnel than there was 5 years ago when this whole mess started. So maybe that team didn't care for him, but this team, they maybe care about him. I don't know. We'll see. Didn't come off nice, but it can be nice about it. You have any other things to say about that situation?
It's hard for me.
Because you were...
It's just hard for me to envision a world in which he comes out with a C, especially, like you said, we're expecting to see Shedeur by, some people say week 3, the first home game, which it's not a lot of games. And so it's hard to fathom Deshaun Watson lost his job, but there he is on the sidelines helping everybody out with that C that he earned on his chest. Todd Monken, his first duty as new head coach to crown a captain. And a captain is certainly something that probably sports talk radio, without a doubt, sports talk radio does captain talk more than the public does. I don't think the public really talks a whole bunch about professional sports captains.
No, if their players are good and the team's good, I don't think they care about professional sports captains.
No, they don't.
But if the team ain't good
teams,
and you made a very unpopular trade and you made that guy a captain and you were no longer making a captain of an extremely popular player, that's going to get talked about.
Well, very rarely do you not name your quarterback captain. Only 3 teams last year, because there are some teams that name him weekly, but there were only 3 teams that name year-long captains that didn't name their quarterback, were the Raiders, the Saints, and the Browns.
What do they all have in common?
Don't have an established quarterback.
And I don't think anybody thought he was an established... Well, they actually did think it was a bit of an established quarterback back then, but now you can't. No, you can't. Is he an established quarterback this year?
Could be. I mean, if he gets named.
I didn't say could be. I want to know.
I mean, J.J. McCarthy got named starting quarterback.
Don't dance around. Starting quarterback or captain?
Right, captain last year.
Okay, so that was last year, and now this year, J.J. McCarthy is not going to be the starting quarterback, correct? Okay, so if you're not an established quarterback, are you captain? Would you do that?
I mean, it depends.
You're talking around it. Answer the question.
No, seriously. Like, was Daniel Jones an established quarterback last year? He was a captain.
He was. Wait, hold on. Did they or did they not bring him back and intend to have the whole season revolve around Daniel Jones?
They brought him back this year. He was named captain last year. They haven't named captains yet.
Okay, they haven't done it yet, but you didn't answer that question.
Was Michael Penix Jr. an established captain?
Were they planning on making him the established starter on that football team? Daniel Jones. Yes, they were.
They were competing. He was competing with Anthony Richardson last year.
That was a competition.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know Shane Steichen imagined that would be a competition when a guy was pulling himself out. Okay.
Well, he didn't name him till late August, until actually about this time.
And then they made Daniel Jones the captain?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to ask you about the Browns now. I asked you, would he be an established quarterback? And you said, well, he could be. No, that's not the answer. Is he or is he not?
Currently, right now, no.
No. So would you make him the captain right now?
No, I never said I would. I would not make him the captain.
Who would be your captains then?
I mean, God. I mean,
I don't know. There's one guy who keeps getting in fights with everybody who seems to be your defensive leader. I think that's a pretty damn easy answer to give.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about
Sean
offense.
doesn't play on defense. Who's your offensive captain right
Oh, my offensive captain?
Yeah.
I mean, I think
honestly,
you could put Quinshawn
if the captaincy was started today.
You could put Quinshawn and Jerry Jeudy probably.
What?
All right, Jerry Jeudy.
Not that like Jerry Jeudy would be the best option, but like Jerry Judy's one of your veteran receivers, right? That's probably
well, just because you've been around doesn't mean you're a captain.
It's not going to be Cedric Tillman.
Why are you laughing about that? Why is that funny? Why is that funny? That's not funny.
Not going to make the team.
Okay. Who would I make the captain on offense? Now that's a question.
Where's the one from Purdue you really liked a few years ago?
David Bell
from the league.
Oh, is he no longer playing?
He got beat up by injury.
Retired from the league.
Isn't that amazing, by the way?
What's your problem, you psycho?
You kept saying
Let's go over
future Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
David
he did.
Because he could have been a future Pro Bowler had he not been hurt all the time.
Future All-Star Lonnie Chisenhall. Future.
So could Anthony Schwartz.
Whoa.
It is funny.
I never, ever claimed him.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Here's the funny thing. Like,
sure.
I've seen people celebrate, and rightfully so, if these receivers end up being really good. And they're like, you imagine if Andrew Berry would have just focused on wide receiver before year 6 of his tenure.
Well, you couldn't because you gave up 3 first-round picks for a quarterback that nobody likes.
Yeah, Boston was 39th overall.
I'm talking about before this. If you would have been able to you can't concentrate on wide receiver early when you gave up 3 first-round picks for a quarterback nobody wants to see. And people call in and say they're going to spend $134 round trip on a ticket and a plane ticket to come here and boo the guy in a preseason game. That's going well.
I checked a flight from Manila.
No.
Right now, if you're trying to get in and actually make it to the game time, $1,600, so it'd cost you a little more to come from there.
That was Chris in the Philippines who called in earlier. You can check that call out because it was a great call on the free rewind feature on the free Odyssey app. It's powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. Defensively, Denzel Ward. Oh man,
you don't have enough captains.
Can I have if you have 4 captains? Can I have 3 defensive captains and 1 offensive captain?
You know what I would want with the captain.
You know what I would do?
You want on either side of the ball.
I would kick around the idea of making Spencer Fano the captain on offense. You are a cornerstone of our franchise, son.
Has he earned that?
I don't know yet. I'm not in the locker room. I said I'd kick it around. Defensively, I got 3 there. I got Jared Verse because he's part of your future, whether you like it or not, and I do like it right now. Denzel Ward because he's the guy who's a borderline Hall of Famer, would be in the Hall of Fame if you go into the playoffs a little bit more. And then you have Carson Schlesinger. 3 captains on defense, 1 on offense. See you in 2027. Boom. Solve that problem. Lima, what's the most important room in your house?
Oh, I'd say it's the living room.
If the living room is the most important room in your house and it's on fire, but the rest of your house is pristine and wonderful, what are you concentrating on? The room that's on fire?
Sure.
You are half listening. Let me get to Owen here. What's the most important room in your house?
Lima's living room.
And if the rest of the house was pristine, but that room was on fire,
I'd probably try to put out that damn fire.
And that is going to make a hell of a lot more sense about this Browns roster coming up at 9:01 on The Fan. Northeast Factory Direct and northeastfactorydirect.com. Some kitchens are so bad you just want to set it on fire and start over again. No, get on over there to Northeast Factory Direct, because you might be looking around going, well, I don't want to set the thing on fire, but I definitely want different kitchen cabinets, nicer kitchen cabinets. I definitely want a better backsplash. I definitely want better countertops. Well, get on over there to Northeast Factory Direct. 4 great locations, and start your search online. And the beauty of it, it's not really a search. All you have to do is schedule a free consultation, and they're going to sit down with you, and they're going to design it all right there to see what it looks like right there in your kitchen. It's going to look amazing. And then you can go room by room if you want to. Get great furniture for your living room that's not on fire. Get great furniture for your bedroom. Get great furniture for your children's bedroom. Maybe you're thinking about bunk beds. You can do that as well. So get on over there to one of their 4 great locations: West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard, Euclid, Freeway Drive, Macedonia, the new location down in North Canton on Whitewood Street, and online first, northeastfactorydirect.com.
to our YouTube channel and get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 923 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
Hey Browns fans, this is Denzel Ward. Keep up with the latest football news every 20 minutes with exclusive 2020 reports on the radio home of the Cleveland Browns, 92.3 The Fan.
We are getting closer a week from tonight. It is the Fan 15 celebration, and here's your chance to win VIP access. September 3rd at Dave and Buster's.
2 weeks from
2 weeks from tonight, including a pair of reserved seats, buffet
That's
dinner.
only 2 weeks away? I thought that's 3 weeks away.
No, we got it singled out finally. Got it cornered.
I'm sorry.
Pair of reserved seats, buffet dinner, a pair of power cards. Enter the word Brown, BROWN, by the end of the hour at 923thefan.com to get registered to win. Yeah, I thought it was next week. You thought it was in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's in 2 weeks.
But if you go back to last week, it would have been 3 weeks. But now it's only 2 weeks.
And then next week, it will be within a week.
Yeah. You know what they say? A broken promo is right twice.
Keep running it.
There is something you guys all think is rigged. I have reached out. They swear to me it's not rigged. I'll tell you what that thing is you think is rigged coming up at 9:22. And no, it's not NFL seasons or the NBA.
A quarterback race?
How dare you? How dare you?
Ridiculous.
If it doesn't go my way, I can't just say it's rigged. Right? If it doesn't go my way, I can't just say it's not fair. Like I heard another show on this station basically doing all day yesterday.
You new to politics, Kenny? That's all we do now.
It's not fair. No, you wanted the guy fired. You brought in a new guy. He made it as fair as he possibly could. Speaking of that, so I want to play Daryl for everybody. Daryl is as down as it gets right now about this situation. And I want to address something here. I want to address something. Because we have a lot of loyal listeners. And I don't want to call any of them out, be nasty to them, because the customer is always right. So I have to, whatever they think, I got to take it to some degree. I mean, if they accuse me of saying something I didn't, I can defend myself, right? But there seems to be a predominant thought, and I got to tell them I agree with them, but there's a but. So I want to play Daryl for everybody. This is from Afternoon Drive yesterday, and I got to tell you, he sounds like a man on a ledge right now. Go ahead.
I'm so over this quarterback competition. I wouldn't start any of these guys. I'd go out and get somebody, but that's not going to happen.
Easy, Jeff Phelps. You trying to go get Will Levis?
Are you a Tyson Badgett guy?
It's so bad. It's amateur hour out there at times. We're going to sit here and praise guys because they can call a play in the huddle and go to the line of scrimmage and do the pre-snap stuff. That is growth. That is progress. Shedeur Sanders couldn't even execute a kill the clock in a game-ending situation today. Deshaun Watson continues to misfire awfully bad. This isn't NFL quarterback play that we're getting to see on a day-in, day-out basis in Berea. It's going to put a heavy burden on the skill position players to elevate the quarterbacks. Usually it's the quarterback that elevates the skill positions. Well, this year it needs to work in reverse for the Browns. It's the skill position players that are going to have to elevate these quarterbacks because they're just not very good.
So that's Daryl yesterday. Oh, boy, that is a dour outlook on things. Not that it might not be accurate, but it's a dour outlook on things. Social media reactions on X are brought to you by
Diamond Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
9:06 and 37 seconds for those scoring at home. The reason I bring this up is we've had several loyal listeners, and they've been a little bit agitated here over the last couple of weeks. It's going, we got Denzel Boston, and we got Harold Fannin Jr., and we got KC Concepcion, and we got Carson Swessinger, and Denzel, and Tyson Campbell, and Mason Graham, and Spencer Fano. Why aren't we spending more time on them? Why do we continue to have to talk about this drac? Why must we continue to fight about these quarterbacks, which, Kenny, you keep repeating that neither are going to be here next year more than likely? And I say I absolutely 100% agree. There is no sarcasm in that. There is no cynicism in that. I totally agree. And I wish, because I think that over 15 years here on The Fan, and I'm going to include you in on this, while you don't have the same type of personality I would, you're a little bit more, you carry a heavier hammer than me. I'm a nicer person, at least I try to be, that we both want the Browns to win. I will go to the county courthouse and swear in a Bible in front of any judge you get me. Go get Judge Sinneberg, bring her in here, bring in a Bible. I'll swear in it right in front of everybody. I want these teams to do well, and so do you. You'll do the same thing. Hell, we'll have our chance at Columbus Day, right? We can do it. Why do I bring this all up? Because it's, we keep talking, why do you keep talking about the quarterbacks? Why do you keep talking about the quarterbacks? See, that's the problem. I asked you this question right before the break, and I think you're getting it now, aren't you? If Lima has a beautiful house, lives in Bay Village, congratulations on all Lima's success. And Lima has had, I wouldn't call it a fixer-upper. It was a nice house, but Lima and his wife, the Limas, have made several changes to the home. New floors and paint and windows and roof and a deck and all the other things that they've done to this home. The basement getting finished, the whole nine, right? And if Lima came home and his kitchen was falling apart, had ants in it, maggots all over the sink, the fridge was leaking all over the place, and the kitchen looks like complete hell, or dare I say is on fire. But the rest of the house is immaculate. What are you paying attention to when you walk home?
The very worst
aspect. And guys, I can sit here and I can tell you all day long about these other positions, and yeah, they got some good talent in there, and I've tried to. I've tried over and over and over again. This is what I mean when I say I'm not going to start blocking people on social media and telling people to go to hell and you're an idiot and all these other things over these quarterbacks. I'll wait until at least the winter when we have quarterbacks worth arguing about. And I still don't like to do that anyway. So if I go into the facility, I go, hey, there's some talent in that wide receiver room. There's some talent in that offensive line room. Look at that defensive room. There's some guys who are veterans that are good, and there's some guys who are some young guys that are really good. But I walk past the most important room, and that thing's on fire. And the garbage is spilled out all over the place, and the refrigerator's leaking. What room am I going to pay attention to? And that's what our quarterback room is. So while I would agree, and I spent 40 minutes on Spencer Fano that nobody wanted to call in about earlier this week, and I spent a significant amount of time on Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston and Harold Fannin Jr., what's the most important position in the game? What's the most important position in sports? What's the position we've been looking for since Bernie Kosar for nearly my entire adult life and most of the people's listening's lives? It's a quarterback. They're the kitchen of an NFL football team. And until you get it fixed, while all these other rooms are great, the value of our house is going to continue to be low. We're still going to get dinged on it, and people are still going to walk on by and not take our for sale listing any seriously at all until we get it figured out. And that's where we're at. And I said, I think they're going to win 6 games. Doesn't mean that Carson Schlesinger is going to be a worse player. Doesn't mean that any of these guys I said are going to be worse players.
And it looks like you'll have Denzel Ward the whole year.
Yes.
We wondered about that before the season, if he was going to get traded.
Yes. There are good things. But until the most important room gets fixed up, yeah. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm either going to try to find a way to live with the room that I have, because payday is going to be in April. I can't do anything until payday now. And I really don't want to go get some payday loan. I'm going to continue the analogy, to hell with it. I'm not going to go get some payday loan and put myself in arrears over an Anthony Richardson or Will Levis or whatever other thing that Jeff Phelps wants to talk you into. No, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. Didn't mean to. He ain't listening anyway. It don't matter. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to try to live with this and deal with it as best I can and hope maybe the situation gets figured out, and then I'll get my paycheck in April. And hopefully we'll be able to figure this kitchen situation out, this quarterback situation out. That's where we're at. But every day I got to walk by that kitchen, and every day that kitchen, the most important room in the house, is not going to be looking good. So it's very, very, very hard to concentrate on the positives when my kitchen is falling apart.
What's Jalen Milroe doing?
Damn, that's a name.
It is funny when you're desperate, the names that come up. Of course, the difference this year will be the draft next year. Depending on how bad your team is.
I'm going to go see what he did. Hold on now.
I know. I honestly didn't hear his name preseason. And who was the one Hoyer loved? The one that did the backflips.
I don't remember.
Hold on.
Oh, no. The guy who ended up with the Cowboys.
Yes.
Who
was with the Patriots.
Only throws the ball 1,000 miles an hour.
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton. Thank you. There you go. So does that make any sense to you, Tone?
It totally does.
Was that a good analogy?
The payday loan thing, too, caught me because I'm guilty of that. I mean, I've been bringing up how many different quarterbacks.
You've been taking out a bunch of payday.
How do you think I did the floor?
Lima looked at the Western Sky commercials like, all right, here we go. Yeah.
Why do you think I'm always
Just
here?
don't buy timeshares. I know that for sure.
Get
So,
you
wait a
Jalen
second.
Miller. That's what that's what the Deshaun Watson one was. That's the timeshare. You think you're out of it, and you're still in it some way, somehow. Go ahead.
I don't want to go to hell for signing Denzel.
I did see Chris Oladukin this weekend.
What were you
Who's quarterbacking for somebody?
What were you going to say?
No, it's just I do want to just put it in perspective. I know people get upset when we talk about these guys as if they have no shot. Well, it's up to them. It's up to Shedeur and it's up to Deshaun to get us to talk favorably about the situation. And I'm sorry, like when I hear Mary Kay talk about, again, the interceptions from Watson, it's like every practice except for those 2 magical practices where he somehow, lurched ahead. It's been every practice. He's been turning it over. And then with Shedeur, it seems like all the other stuff that it takes to be a quarterback, he's been struggling with.
And what makes it even worse here is I just can't ignore this. It's an addiction. I still want them to try to win. I'm saying 6 games, and I'm driving home. I swear to God, I'm on Route 14 yesterday as I'm leaving 8. And I'm just pulling into town, and I go, what if I'm wrong? What if they do win 13 games? What if this is completely wrong and they win 13 games? And I go, I'm trying to find a way how they get to a respectable number. 13 would be amazing. How do they get to 9? How do they do that? The schedule. I still dream about it. And then I go, yeah, Kenny, you said they still need 2 more drafts. And then because they need to get the quarterback, and then they got to put some more guys around them because your offensive line is 4 free agents and a rookie. So I still need to build depth there. I still need to build depth in my secondary. Hopefully Michael Coates is going to make this team because he's a nice player, but I don't know what he's going to do in the regular season. So I still need to build my roster. And so when I get that QB, I still need to support him. Because if I get my kitchen fixed, I can't just ignore all the other rooms in the house now, can I? While they go to hell. Like, that's what it is, man. The NFL football team is our house. And we got a foundation, and we got some nice rooms. But until we get that kitchen fixed, boy, we're going to have some problems, and people just ain't going to like it. 216-474-0092. Coming up in 5 minutes, I reached out. They told me it wasn't rigged. We'll see if you guys believe me in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home.
practice yesterday. While the team did not announce why Judkins sat out of practice, he was the recipient of a lot of the chippiness on Tuesday that led to Todd Monken ending practice early. Want to catch highlights from the Fan from throughout the day? Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite the Fan on the Odyssey app for all of today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Cade.
Our second candidate is Mr. Daniel Katz. Dan Katz is better known as Big Cat from Barstool Sports. And just to reiterate, the School of Accounting drew this name. Akron Athletics has nothing to do with this. Big Cat is refusing to tell us what kind of offense he will run because he doesn't want anyone to know secret formula. Good man indeed.
Audio courtesy of the University of Akron. So this drew my ire a couple of weeks ago. They are having the contest. You got to buy a season ticket. If you bought a season ticket to Akron football, you got entered into a drawing and a contest to be a person who calls the first series of plays on offense against Robert Morris. And I believe that's when? September 13th, that football game, Tone?
Yeah, so he also submitted, Big Cat submitted, I think, by far the most entries. So people that are wondering if it's rigged, well, John Gruden, I think, only submitted one. Right?
Yeah. When you say submitted entries, that means purchase season tickets.
So I think Big Cat talked about purchasing like 20 season ticket packages.
I thought he got around 10.
Okay, I thought the number went up, and then people on his show started buying them as well. And I wonder,
now are they doing it in his name?
Yeah, if they just all did it for him. And so if you had the most entries, you had the most likely shot.
Well, that's what made people, because immediately the internet went, oh, really? Oh, he's a finalist? Because it's weird enough. They had 10 finalists and then somebody bowed out, but they only had 9 people. And Lima, immediately, what was your thought?
Why didn't you draw again?
Why didn't you just draw again?
Keep going. When they do this in the NBA Lotto, if the same number comes up and the same team comes up, they just redraw.
Odd. Anyway, I don't know if it would have gone over better. Probably would have. Maybe you could have. And in the same announcement, when you say that we didn't pick this and the Department of Accounting picked it, you're going to immediately raise some red flags with people, are you not?
Well, I would want to rig this. If it were me I was running Akron, I would 100% have the frozen envelope.
When I saw John Gruden in there.
You wouldn't then come out and go, and the second pick is Dan Katz, and I absolutely rigged this pick.
So I'm an Akron fan. I'm a literal Akron fan. I went there. Ohio State has all the fans they need. I'm an Akron fan. I wanted John Gruden to win this. And I told you guys, it's like, I'd be willing to rig it for John Gruden to win it. Because I don't know how much longer Joe Moorhead's...
Big picturing.
Yeah, I'm big picture. I don't know how much longer Joe Moorhead's going to be there. His son's going to Jacksonville State, if I'm not mistaken. He's getting ready to play football. He probably won't start this year, but he's a good quarterback. I saw him in high school. Maybe he'll get a crack at it next year. Maybe Joe Moorhead's looking at it like, hey, I've done what I can here. Who knows how this season's going to go? There's a lot of obstacles in the way. Maybe Joe Moorhead will he's had offers to call offenses before at bigger colleges, even in the NFL since he's been at Akron. He stayed here for personal reasons. So what if he just decides that he wants to go? I'd like John Gruden to get a taste of it. I'd love seriously, I dream of a guy like John Gruden going there and calling the plays and doing that. Oh, man, I'm from Ohio and Northeast Ohio, man, a hotbed. You know how he talks. And maybe starts talking himself into it. I know. I was thinking do any worse.
I was thinking the same thing. Now, we do have to be fair. Like in the year 2026, what gets you more attention these days? I mean, that Barstool crowd. I mean, that gets you more. So they already got unprecedented attention on a college football game most people would not care about, with the most impressions I've ever seen for like a football tweet. It was insane.
Once Joe Moorhead explained it to me, I came around on it, but I hated the idea at first.
Well, and now, obviously they're going to be, talking about this. And my question is to you, we have the whole list here. I mean, we've got Brandon Wigan of Bellevue, Nebraska. He's a finalist. Jack Rooney of Long Island, New York. We got James Bordeaux, a popular YouTuber and streamer. Should I know who that is, John?
But I think he might be a gambler.
Yeah, should I know who that is? Is that somebody that, like, our listeners, like, you don't know who that is?
John, is that somebody we should know? Your mic's off.
Who is it?
James Bordeaux.
Yes, he has 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. He makes college football, the college football video game content.
Oh, he doesn't gamble? I thought he was a gambler.
No. Oh, he might be sponsored by a gambling company. I don't know for sure. I haven't watched his videos in a while, but his main thing is video games.
Now, then we've got a slew of longtime season ticket holders, which if you were going to rig it, you'd have to cater a little bit to the guys that actually are paying, you're into your athletic department. For years. They'd be like, what is this? This was just a contest, and we've been actually footing the bill for years.
If I were a longtime season ticket holder, I think I'm going to go, okay, and I'd like to nominate, I would like to make John Gruden my play caller.
Right, maybe. So that's Martin Allen Wims II, Mike Beck Jr. We have Sean Struncius of Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. You got to remember, these people would have to come in and consult with Joe Moorhead, because I think that's what was being missed in a lot. It's not. There's no doubt there will be a trick play. I don't care who is calling the play. Joe Moorhead would have done this himself.
Yeah.
So there's no Dave from Wadsworth in there, or
no?
These are all out of towners.
No, not every.
Their season ticket base ain't that big anyway, so you're not going to get a lot of those folks.
Well, Martin Allen Wims II, a former UA student, longtime Zips football season ticket holder. So I imagine he's local.
But there's no Jeff in Goodyear Heights.
No.
Steve Moyer,
Firestone Park, maybe.
1989 UA graduate, longtime Zips football season ticket holder. Then we got the Scharfman, Tim Scharfman of Austin, Texas.
Oh, well, everyone knows Tim Scharfman.
Scharf Daddy. And then, yes, the 10th candidate selected. I'm sure the 10th candidate was like, wait, I have to do what? I thought this was just going to be something I could get on Zoom with you. And Joe Moorhead's like, no, you're going to come to practice. You're going to sit in on some meetings.
I don't like talking about other media entities. I am a fan of Dan Katz. I do like him a lot, mostly because I love Stu Feiner, and they've been on that same show. And listen, I'm not a gambler, but I love entertainment, and I find them very entertaining. So I am a fan of the man. If he were to make it, if he were to make the calls, fine, you got what you wanted. That's okay. I'm down with it. But I did dream of John Gruden being able to do it. Let me go back to the original point. Yesterday, when this happened, I immediately texted some people within the building in Akron, not Berea. And I go, please tell me this isn't rigged. No, it's not rigged. I go, the internet thinks this is rigged. What do you mean? Because Dan Katz's name got brought out, dude. Oh, no. They swear on an oath, a blood oath if I have to, that this is not rigged. That the accounting department pulled it. And honestly, if everybody bought one, it's to me, it's like a gift basket. Like if I go to a golf outing or something like that.
You're telling me the department in charge of the money didn't rig the thing where we're trying to generate more money for the school. Okay. Should have went with physics department.
I can only go by what my sources text me, okay? And that might be a good point. But no, do they not have PricewaterhouseCoopers? Is that what it is?
Sterling Cooper Draper
Draper Price.
Just make sure to open the door carefully.
Gleason and Chaw, they come out there and well done. That's a deep cut. You did very well there. The Mets were having a bad season that year. You have no idea what people are willing to do when they become Mets fans. So they have an accounting firm do these things for the Oscars. So you had your Department of Accounting go ahead and pick it out. And it makes sense. Like if you go to any charity thing I've ever been to and they're doing the gift baskets, I just take all my I pick the gift basket I want the most and I throw all my tickets in the gift basket. And the only time it's only not worked once, and I got to be honest, I accused the person. I go, you just didn't want to bring it to me because I had to leave early. My buddy Brad. I go, there's no way I didn't win that. I threw everything in there. I didn't win it. You're telling me I really didn't win it? Okay. Because the odds, and I probably didn't win it, but the odds are overwhelmingly in your favor. So I heard 10, you heard 15, you had heard over 20. If everybody's just buying one, and you had, because some people are just like, hey, yeah, I'll buy one. And then they're like, $75. I'm spend $75 to travel to Akron, Ohio, and call plays once, and then I have to sit there for an Akron Zips game for the rest of the time, and I got to spend like a week in Akron. I don't know if I can take off work, so they don't do it. Dan Katz is an entertainer; he can do anything he wants. And so, if Barstool put out 20 of these season ticket things, spent that money, they got the dough for that. So they went out and they spent it to get him to be the guy. It is believable. It is believable that he would be one of the finalists at least.
Now, after all was said and done, how many people are legitimately going to be paying attention? It's one thing to say this is amazing, this is awesome. What is the actual payoff going to be? when they play Robert Morris.
It's a noon kickoff?
I think it's 3:30.
It's probably 3:30. That's generally what the kickouts have been.
And is there going to be a huge attendance boost because of this?
Everybody that bought the tickets lives in Schenectady and Hoboken and Omaha.
Well, that's what I wonder, too.
Like, they're not flying in for this.
No.
I know there are great.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, that's a 3:30 game on September 12th.
September 12th. I said September 13th. I beg your pardon. I apologize. It's
like,
September 12th.
There's nothing that says a number of what they sold, but it says, they had surged and they'd sold out all of their clubs and their suites.
This is actually a pretty nice window for them. In the 3:30 window, I'm just looking at ESPN.com. Here we go.
I like this.
Number 14, BYU hosting Arizona. Number 17, Washington hosting Utah State.
Okay,
you got one Big 12 matchup there. Yeah. The rest of it, like Michigan State, Eastern Michigan, Duke, Illinois, Cal, Syracuse. You might be able to get people's attention for the first drive.
I don't know. I'd be pretty nervous. If I was on the call for this, I'd be pretty nervous about the.
Well, it's a pretty big drive. I mean, that up to that moment will be the biggest drive in college football to that point.
Okay, Notre Dame just kicked away. Notre Dame Rice at 3:30. Like I like Notre Dame a lot, right? I'm going to tune in to Lima's game at 3. Actually, no, we have a game at 3 o'clock. That's right.
Oh, you'll have it on the sidelines.
Wow. Okay. I would tune in to Lima's game if I had nothing else to do.
Game?
If I was not doing anything that day.
You missed LeBron watch and all this other stuff for football.
And Big Boy.
And you can't get this game now moved. Your football game moved that you can see.
It's not my family. I have many other families to deal with. We got 24 kids on the team. I can't just move everybody's schedule so I can watch Tone or
anybody.
Think a
man in your power would be able to have, maybe you guys play the noon kickoff at InfoCision.
I can't just. I get. Could we move it and we're the opening act? Could I do such a thing? Ball's in your court, Akron.
That would be awesome.
Remember, I'm wearing my Streetsboro pullover right now. You go ahead. You give me a call. Maybe we can
Ohio
do something.
State incorporated lacrosse into their spring game.
That's true.
So why not? I do wonder legitimately, like, what are we looking at attendance-wise for this game? I have no way.
The attendance itself is probably not going to be great.
You don't think
the television number, like if I were at home, Notre Dame is going to beat the brakes off of Rice. I don't need to really tune in at the very beginning of that if I really don't want to. I would.
All right,
to be honest with you, it would pique my interest even if we were doing this show in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm hearing all the podcasts talk about it. All the national guys are talking about it. Do you think so? Joe Moorhead has been adamant, like he's going to bring them in, and it's going to be from a palette of his choosing, right?
Yes.
Joe Moorhead saves stuff for other games. It's not about the MAC. You want to save some stuff for the MAC. Is it kitchen sink? Is this like their bowl game, the Akron National Championship, at the disposal of whoever's going to be calling the plays?
They used to, remember, they used to have the Acme Zip game, and that used to pack them in from miles. They used to get like 30+ thousand.
I know.
And that was when they were D2 before the old FCS.
I've seen the pictures from the old Rubber Bowl. Dude, it was crazy. That is a different world that we are living in college football today.
It was that they were very successful with it. Yeah.
Real quick, of note, Big Cat told Front Office Sports yesterday, apparently, he bought 8 season tickets for $600.
This says 18. Okay, he just 12 minutes ago, he responded to somebody here. This says 18.
Okay.
1-8, yeah. So he says, you guys want a contest, but only if exactly who you want to win wins. That's incredibly soft. Saying it to somebody, I don't know. I love that. James Blair tweeted at us.
Yes. What's he been at?
I love
a blast from the past.
Will he run onto the field with the shirt?
Okay. If he wants to do it, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, the other game, I forgot. Alabama, Kentucky is in that window. Now, this is a new coach. This is Will Stein. Probably Alabama's going to roll him. Of course, that isn't Nick Saban's Crimson Tide coming to town in Lexington. But if it's only the opening drive, like say you win the coin toss, the coin toss is important because I want people to see it. Because seriously, if you were like watching college football and you're like, all right, I'm not an Alabama fan, I'm going to check this game out, and you were like on the ESPN Plus app and you're just kicking it around, like if you just see something and Robert Morris is going down the field and taking forever to do so, you might tune out. You might lose your attention. So you want to win the coin toss, and if I'm going as Big Cat as the winner in my head. So you get the most popular person to be the winner, not on purpose, but if he ends up winning it, buddy. I don't know. You got to have if you're going to rig anything, you rig that coin. And have a double head coin and make sure you get offense first so you got all of America paying attention and you're showing Big Cat and he's wearing probably something sensationally ridiculous and he's calling the plays and fine, go ahead and do it.
I mean,
go ahead and do it. If you're going to go this, you go the whole way.
If that first play call is like an end-around throwback or if it is a flea flicker and it gets pick-sixed or brought back, is that the end of the experiment?
Yeah.
Or do you think Joe Moorhead's going to be like, see ya?
Yeah. And then if I were ESPN, because I'm assuming it's ESPN Plus, especially if it's Dan Cat.
I got a better one.
Or Dan Katz, I'm calling him in. Come on into the booth.
Hold on.
Get him a headset. Let's talk.
What happens if Moorhead gets ejected?
For what?
On the first series.
It's hard to get a football coach ejected.
Who's coming?
I mean, Owens tried it a time or two, but
it wasn't that hard for me. You throw a playbook once or twice. And
who would call the rest of it?
Right.
Quarterback coach?
Whoever got second in this lottery.
Oh, so do you have a standby like
They're
they have
all there. The ones that are coming in from local, right?
This is incredible. Well, you got me. I wanted to ignore this whole thing 2 weeks ago, and now I am very emotionally invested in it to the point I wish I would have plunked down $75 to do it. But we got our own football game, and I don't call offense there.
J.D. Brookhart is the assistant coach, receivers coach.
He would call plays then. Then he'd be the one.
I forgot. He's rejoining them.
He had a good run. They shouldn't have canned him when they did. Things got very ugly after that.
I got a broken heart.
J.D. Brookhart was a good coach, and he was good to student media. The guy after him, if I'm not mistaken, was named Rob, and he was not good. Not fun to be around. All right, coming up in 5 minutes, what do we need to see from that defense today, or the entire team today, in this joint practice that will set the tone for the entire Browns season in 2026?
protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hear from Todd Monken immediately after the game. The official Browns postgame show is only on 92.3 The Fan.
What do you want to see from the joint practice today? I was going to say defense, but I like to say the entire team.
I want to see Jared Verse getting after Josh Allen.
I do too. I have a cautionary tale, by the way. A lot of conversation has been about fights. I didn't realize that the talk about Akron football. Man, I love it. It's going to take up the whole thing. We do have a cautionary tale for today, told by a one Todd Monken, who, is the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, but he was also the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns in 2019, a season that went off the rails.
That was crazy. So the first practice was great. But Freddie was fired up. He was absolutely fired up the way the practice went, right? So Freddie was all fired up. And that night before we were going to practice him, he got after our guys like, hey, we're not going to be anybody's, so-and-so. So when we got to the practice field, Dave Borgonzi's our linebacker coach, and I'd worked with him in Tampa, and I said, hey, man, careful, man. This is going to be like it's going to be like slap shot. They're going to drop the gloves, and it's going to be like the first thing. It's going to be like, oh my God, what just happened, And I think it started in special teams for all those of you that were there. I don't even know. I wasn't even involved in special teams. It felt like it was like Major League Baseball where like the pitchers came from like the outfield dugouts to be involved in it. I didn't even see what happened.
It was premeditated.
I'm not going to go that far. I appreciate you saying that. I'm just going to say that certainly, and I agreed with Freddie in some regard, that it was like, you don't ever want to take a back seat to anybody. He was right in the fact that our calling card, and Freddie, who as a man, believes in toughness. And that I agree with. That's what I loved about Freddie. He believed in toughness. And in his mind, we weren't tough enough the day before. So that I agreed with.
I love the analogy. Get that lumber in his teeth. Let him know you're there. Bleed all over him. Let him know you're there. You don't want that. I think it's a great idea. I mean, we're seeing it like crazy. I mean, we're talking about Scott Steiner's son. They're getting into fights out there between the Saints and Cowboys. There's other fights going on. I mean, it's a big conversation that these joint practices are together, and they would never happen in preseason games. They happen in joint practices. These teams are just getting in melees left and right. It happened with us. It happened with us with the Colts. It happened with us with the Rams. You remember that happened a few years ago. If you leave it to one game, because I don't think there's any chance of it happening in a preseason game. But in a joint practice,
why wouldn't it happen in a preseason game?
Well, because it happens in front of a bunch of cameras and a bunch of fans. You get ejected from the game.
You get ejected, and you possibly face a suspension.
And you face a suspension.
And that's the one thing I'm worried about is with the more joint practices that it becomes a, hey, if you're a guy that instigates this, and maybe there are less cameras than there are, on a CBS broadcast or whatever, but if you're an instigator of one of these camp fights, well, now you're suspended for the opener, right?
Yeah. Well, you also, I think for guys, especially the desperate ones, you're deep into camp. And you're starting to get a sense, especially like on a team like the Bills, I would feel like a guy on the Bills might be more desperate than a guy from the Browns. Like a secondary player, like there's ample opportunities to make this team in the secondary. Like Michael Coates, I think, is going to make this team. And that's an opportunity there. But if you're the Bills, like the Bills probably got about 50 spots hemmed up right now. And so if you're one of those desperate guys and you're feeling like the walls are closing in, you're frustrated, you haven't got the reps you thought you should, you got 90 guys in there. And remember, they keep them the whole time. There's no first cut downs anymore. So you keep them that whole time. You're feeling frustrated. You're out there. You might have got beat on a rep. A guy says something to you, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I can't take – I've stands all I can stands, and I can't stands anymore. And you start wanting to fight, starting to throw hands. I mean, they're talking about it right now on the news about how they're worried about the fights going on. I mean, this is something.
You just reminded me. We will finally end our streak. I think it was like 3 straight years. Daryl, Mary Kay, everybody, and they weren't wrong, but they would come on and say, gone are the days where they didn't have to make tough decisions, or they'd finally have to make tough decisions at cut day. It's like, this year they don't really.
No.
There's going to be some openings at the end of the roster.
But that's the reason why I think that, I think it's easier to stay focused and go, let me get my work in. Let me do this. I got a chance to make this team, or I got a chance to really put something on tape, as opposed to somebody. I mean, it's a game of men, and it's a game of emotion, and some of those emotions, men have short fuses. And if that fuse burns really closely, then that's it for some of these guys. And if you're a back-end guy, you might have just accidentally ended your own career because you freaked out, which is part of it. Got to have you on the field. It has to be violence without control is chaos. It's a violent game. They want you to be violent, but you have to have some control over yourself because you can't allow the game to be chaos. Can't happen. Can I also admit something else? A lot of people thought that I was a fan of Kevin, right? And that maybe that you and I were too friendly with Kevin. That was a criticism, correct? I got to tell you, Kevin is respectable, nice man, good man. I really do believe that. I wish him well. It was time. Wish him well, but there we are. I really like Kevin naturally, though. I mean, Todd Monken is fish in a barrel when it comes to a guy like me. Maybe Kevin was more a guy like you, but for a guy like Todd Monken and having to dump him, having to a little rough around the edges, I'm like, this is my kind of guy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I'm going to really, if things don't go very well, I do. I hope I know what I'm saying, and I'm like, 6 wins. And I want them to make sure they get 5 or 6 wins because I don't want anybody to get crazy and do anything nuts. I want to get to that level because I think if you win 5 or 6 games with the type of back end of the roster that you have here, and injuries are going to happen, I'm going to go, that's a talented coach. That's a guy who's getting the best out of him. We might still need to go after quarterbacks, but he got the best out of whatever's left in the gas tank of Deshaun Watson or whatever. That's a really talented coach. I want to make that argument. But I could feel even worse if things don't go this way for this guy because I really like this. I really like this guy. I really do.
Will Monken go for it on 4th down every time like Kevin did? Because that's what endeared people to Kevin immediately, that he was going for all the 4th downs.
We'll find out. And you can't sit there and say, well, you like every Browns coach. No, there's one I famously don't get along with, so can't say that.
Was that right off the bat, though?
Yeah. Wasn't my call.
Well, it wasn't when you were in there clapping for him when he walked in.
I wasn't clapping. Maybe that's what he noticed.
Ooh.
Oh, my. I didn't realize that. Not until now, and it's been years.
Now there can be healing.
Huh? I didn't clap for Todd either, and so far, so good.
Can't wait for today. Got me pumped for today, actually. 1 o'clock.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to all the press conferences and everything that goes with it. Keep it right here, 92.3 The Fan, for live updates as the joint practice, the Royal Rumble, happens live from... No, hopefully they won't get in a fight. We're back tomorrow, 6 to 10. For Big Country, for Jeff, for Meredith, for the Slippery Wizard, Anthony Lima, for John, Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day. Go Guardians.